This is Better Sports Live.
Caldwell Pope comes out of the pack. Here comes Murray. Alley-oop to Gordon. Oh, what a play. Austin Reeves, a three. Bang! Austin Reeves from downtown. Jokic backing in again. Picked it up top. Caldwell Pope on the drive. Scoop layup. He banks it home. Finds James. James hoists up the three-pointer. Off the side of the rim. Rebound Murray. They won't foul. That'll do it. The Nuggets survive the comeback and win game one.
This is Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla on Better Sports Network.
What is going on, everybody? It is Rick Kamla. It is Corey Parson in for the great Lisa Ann. She is off tonight. You heard the voice of the NBA, Mike Breen, on the call for ABC ESPN of Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. The Denver Nuggets prevail 132-126 over the Lakers, Corey, in an awesome basketball game. And we are going to talk in great length about that. We're going to get people ready for Game 1 of the East Finals tonight, Boston and Miami. But first, Corey, you and me for 3 hours, man. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it, Rick. Definitely glad to be working alongside of you. First time we get to pair up like this. And you know what? We got a good night of MLB baseball on deck. Got some NBA action coming up. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, a lot going on this week. Football is right around the corner. You know, we're in our best ball draft mode right now. And then you got win totals and futures and stuff like that. So not only do we got a lot of information to bring, entertainment to bring to people, I'm quite sure we might get into some side action as well, Rick. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I like that. They have this thing called Venmo. So we don't need a bank, all right?
No,
we just
exactly.
need we just kind of Venmo it right here. Hopefully,
all you need is your word.
I'll tell you what, and vice versa. I tell you what, man. We're going to get into some baseball props here because we got some games about to pitch off, I guess. I can tell you, looking at your props and knowing my props, we have one significant disagreement on tonight's Miami and Boston game. So we'll get to that in just a second. Corey, we got a game that's going to begin here in baseball. Blue Jays against the Yankees. It's the Yankees north of the border up in Toronto. I got Chris Bassett tonight, over 5.5 Ks, plus 110. He's been over this number in 2 of the last 3 games. Pitching, right now, the best he's pitched all year. He's really hitting a high. He's given up 0 earned runs over his last 16 innings in these last 2 starts. And I know we're trying to hit a K prop here, so let's go to the home road splits. At home, 8.9 Ks per 9. On the road, 6 Ks per 9. Going against Garrett Cole tonight should be an awesome game. And Bassett knows he's got to be on with a Cy Young candidate on the other on the hill for the other team. So I got Bassett over 5.5 Ks. Corey, hit me with some MLB vibes as we get into this evening.
You know, I'm going a little bit for the late night action. One of the games that tips off a little bit later on this evening between the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Guardians. Glad I didn't say Indians. Really, you got Mike Clevenger on the mound, sporting that 4.79 ERA. He's given up 7 home runs so far this year. And those home runs normally come at home versus left-handed bats. So we got, listen, these are long shots tonight, but dollar make you holler. Stephen Kwan, Andres Jimenez, and Will Brennan in the lineup. Those left-handed bats would pop 7 plus 750 or greater to hit a home run. One of them hit a home run, you have a good night.
So Kwan, Jimenez, and was there another guy in there too?
Brennan.
And Brennan. Okay. So I like it. Targeting a pitcher that's not playing well this year so far. Clevenger just appears to be beat up in a journeyman. He was kind of a hot shot initially with the Guardians, but not anymore, I guess. I'm not trying to trump up belief in Clevenger, but this is the Mike Clevenger Bowl here tonight. With the Guardians and the White Sox. So Corey, I got one more MLB prop here, but hit me with empty your bag right here.
Clip.
What else you got, man?
Okay, let's go. I am on Jason Tatum under 29.5 tonight in that matchup. Start game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, Tatum really doesn't go off all the time, but when he needed it, recently they had to have it. This under 29.5, it actually has hit pretty good amount over the past month. I've been picking on Robert Williams tonight, too, the Time Lord. Robert Williams under 7.5 points and under 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Same game. Obviously, there's only one game on the docket tonight. Got a couple overs. Everybody who doesn't like to sweat overs, you know what I'm saying? Jaylen Brown over 2.5 3-pointers made. Derek White, 1.5 threes made. And then Bam Adebayo under 2.5 assists. Last 10 games, that prop is cashed 7 times. It's not going to make you rich. Could be a nice piece for your single game parlay for Eastern Conference Finals Game 1. So there are the props that we got laid out right there, Rick. We can keep up with them along throughout the course of the night, and hopefully we can make ourselves and the people a couple dollars.
That would be nice. That's what we're always trying to do here, man, for sure. So I've got Spencer Strider here as we're trading prop bets here early on. I mean, it's an explosion. It's fireworks and props here for you, but that's why you come to Bettor Sports Network. It's Rick Kamla, Corey Parson in for Lisa Ann tonight. 8:30, the countdown is on, basically. We're an hour and 25 away from Game 1 of the East Finals. I know me and Corey are vibing on that. But I got Spencer Strider tonight, Corey. Over 9.5 Ks. He's at Texas tonight, plus 115. Okay. The Rangers are 5th on the K list. So 5th highest in the amount of strikeouts for their team. So that is very much in our favor here with the best strikeout pitcher in the game on the hill. Strider's been over this number in 3 of the last 4. Like we talked about with Bassett, Strider right now is really hitting a high and pitching his best of the season. He's been over 100 pitches in 3 of the last 4. It was not over 100 in any of the previous starts. No more bubble wrap, airing these guys out, all that kind of stuff. Strider leads the NL in Ks per 9 at 15.2, which is insane. 79 Ks over 46 innings. He's 12.3 Ks per 9 versus Texas last year and 14.5 Ks per 9 on the road. So I got Strider over 9.5 Ks. And like I said, Bassett over 5.5 Ks. You got a vibe here on Strider? You buying that or selling that there, Corey?
No, it sounds good. I like what you're doing right now. I like where you're going. This is an interesting call right here. And as you look, already on the year, 79 strikeouts. Also, he's piling them up. 41 when he's pitching at home. Tonight is on the road, but he's also had 38 of those 79s on the road. On the road, opponents are batting 171. He's putting together a fantastic season thus far. 3-1 on the road as well. So that's a good call right there. Spencer Strider, Atlanta, down there in the dirty.
We got to get to double-digit Ks, and I think that's going to happen. We'll keep a little side eye on the baseball once the basketball game starts, but the Blue Jays and the Yankees are just about to get underway here. Okay, here was the disagreement that we have. You are over Jason Tatum, Corey, at 29.5.
I'm under.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, my bad. I'm under. I'm with you.
No, my bad. Because I so many emails and rundowns, and so I got a little bit confused right there. Okay, so you are under on Jason Tatum. Well, we have an early agreement here, Corey. I am under on Jason Tatum as well.
Yeah, under on Jason Tatum. Listen, it really hasn't been. He has games where he does well. He's given them got-to-need-it games the past couple nights to close out the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sure we'll get into the coaching carousel that's heating up in the NBA. But really, he hasn't been all that great at cashing this prop right here, trying to find the exact number. But the bottom line of the matter is,
I got it right here.
Go ahead, Rick.
He's under in 8 of 13 playoff games. Go. This number under 8 of 13. So go ahead.
Yeah, under this is a plus cash right here. So I look at it this way, and then listen, this is the Miami Heat. They compete, and they're going to come out there. They know who they got to stop. They know how they got to hustle. They know how aggressive they got to be. Jason Tatum, an MVP caliber type player. As a matter of fact, he's a heavy favorite to be the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. But I would say be very careful with Heat culture. And this Miami Heat team, you just saw what the Knicks just went through. Listen, Tatum is a player who can get it done, but that Heat culture is tough.
It's tough, and they check this stat out, Corey. I had a vibe on this. Wait a minute. It seems to me that Miami has minimized both of the top scorers that they played so far in the playoffs. In fact, true, they held Giannis to 23 points per game. 23 for Giannis, who averages 31. Julius Randle, they held him to 19 points per game. He averaged 24 or 25 during the year. Okay, these are massive drop-offs. I'm not saying Jason Tatum's going to go from 30 down to 25 for the series, but he might. And so to me, 29.5 is overvalued here. They're looking at the 51 in Game 7. They're looking at the 16-point fourth quarter in Game 6. And I think getting a little bit too geeked up here. Miami is going to throw everything at Jason Tatum, whether it's double teams, a little bit of Jimmy Butler, a little bit of Caleb Martin, a little bit of Kyle Lowry flopping like a fish on him. Gabe Vincent may try to get under him and bother him. And Gabe Vincent's great at getting his knee into your thigh. And not injuring you, but wounding you. Okay, so I don't know. They're just going to throw all these guys And Corey, I got another vibe here on Tatum, a little cherry on top of the sundae. I have a career year theory and also a career game theory. And the career year theory would be a guy like Jamal Williams, right, in the NFL, all the touchdowns this year. There's no way he's even coming close to that, even if he was going back to Detroit. It's just not how it works. Career year theory, you boomerang back after a massive year. And I look at it the same way Mike wrote with games. I mean, Tatum just had 51, man. Come on. All eyes are going to be on him. And it's just the law of averages kick in at some point, Corey. So there's a bunch of factors here. We both like Tatum under 29.5. So maybe people should get on this.
And I agree, excuse me. And I agree. I think people should be on this one. This is a smart bet right here. And I love that coming back off that career type game theory. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you should see a negative regression. Not to say that he's going to go out there and score 17 points, but I don't think he's going to have 30 tonight in game one.
Exactly.
And listen, Boston has not been great at home this postseason. Money line the Heat tonight.
Okay. Since you went there, no, it's fine.
Go with the props.
No, we're just gonna go where it goes and make it do what it do. I'm with you. I like Miami +8 tonight, Corey. Yeah. I mean, it's 8. It's 8. Like, look, man. Let me bring you into my window on Miami. Okay, during the regular season, Corey called them the weird ass Heat, and me and Antonio Daniels on NBA radio had a debate. Weirdest team in the NBA. I said Heat.
Antonio Daniels.
Yeah, AD, shout him out. He had Mavs, I had Heat. Okay, so the Heat beat the Bucks in 5 freaking games. They get a coach fired, and at that point, Corey, I was like, "Yo, I'm done doubting this team. I know they don't have Hero, they don't have Oladipo. I don't care. It's Heat culture. They just find a way. Boom, they beat the Knicks, and now they're here against Boston. So I don't have them beating Boston, Corey, but I got them covering tonight. I think they cover the 8, and I think this number should be smaller.
And here's the thing. Listen, I agree. I just saw the Miami Heat. I've been watching the Miami Heat essentially on this entire tournament. And one thing about the Miami Heat, they're very competitive. They do not quit. Boston get up 14, 16 points, put it in cruise control. Miami is right back on top of you like white on rice. You know what I'm saying? Miami's going to keep coming. Now, but here is where I do worry. First of all, I have a sports betting tenet. All right?
Yeah,
people got these tenets, these things they go by, these words, these lines. My thing is fade the trendy underdog. Fade the trendy underdog. Miami is a trendy underdog tonight. Most shops reporting close to 75 of the bets on the Miami Heat. Yet, I don't know if you've noticed this number has moved to Boston -8.5. So you're getting the respected money coming in on the Celtics. I say do not fret. My eyes don't lie to me, and I don't think Boston's 8.5 points better than Miami. Money line.
And you made a great point at home. This team tricked off Game 5 at home to the Atlanta Hawks. Tricked it off. They had a 10-point lead mid-4. Trae Young big boyed them. Trae Young went into TD Garden and big boyed these guys. Come on, man.
Trae Young of all people, Rick.
And I mean, he's a fantastic player, but like I didn't think he had that in him. But he did. And it was coupled, right? His greatness mixed with Boston letting their guard down. Game 1 against Philly, no Joel Embiid. Harden goes in there and smacks him with the best playoff game of his life, 45 in the game winner. And then they give up game 5. They get blown out at home to Philadelphia. And then, of course, came back out of that 3-2 hole to win it. So I like that home aspect of it as well. In terms of Boston really has not been, I mean, think about it, Corey. It should be, arguably the most dominant home court advantage in basketball. I mean, it's Boston. It's
TD really Garden. Outside of the Chase Center, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in that house for finals games. It's a roar. It's not like a crowd noise. It's like a roar. It's like it kind of takes your breath away a little bit when they really get it all fired up. And so it just hasn't been quite like that. Jaylen Brown actually called out the crowd during the last series and was like, we need more from them. And I'm like, Jaylen Brown, no. The players on the court are supposed to bring the crowd to a boil. The crowd is not supposed to bring you to a boil. So we had that twisted a little bit.
Let me ask you this right quick. Yeah. Alabama said, Nick Saban famously said the same thing about Alabama's crowd. I think sometime when the fan base gets too spoiled, they can come into the gymnasium and sit on their hands. Now, I agree with you as well. It's your job as the player to get them up and rolling and going, stuff like that. But I can see that crowd being boring. Now, you talk about taking your breath away. I don't know. You ever been to the old Yankee Stadium in October? That'll take your breath away, too.
I saw one game At Old Yankee Stadium, Corey, one game. It was not a playoff game.
Yeah.
A-Rod went yard in the game, and actually
Nice.
I was doing a Fox Sports radio hit, a basketball hit, and literally I'm at the game and pop, A-Rod goes oppo to right, and I gave him a live call on Fox. It was just a kind of a funny radio serendipity moment. Yeah. I was amazed at how many mosquito bites I got that night, Corey, at Old Yankee Stadium. I'm like, isn't everything concrete? Where in the hell are all these mosquitoes coming from?
Well, no. It's some swamp. It's some swamps out there in the South Bronx over there by Yankee Stadium, so you can get some big mosquitoes out there. Join. You got that river. You got that east. You got that West Side Highway, that East River right there. So coming off the Throg's Neck. So no. Listen, hey, Rick. Where I grew up, I can walk to Yankee Stadium. So trust me. Nice. Yeah, you can. It's mosquitoes over there.
I had like 8 bites on my leg. So what the hell? I didn't go walking in a forest. I went to the Yankee game. It was kind of weird, man. It was weird. All right, let me bounce some more of these props off you here,
Let's
Corey.
do it.
And I want to go back into detail on some of the ones that you brought up earlier. So I got Malcolm Brogdon tonight, Corey. Check this out. He's been over his number tonight, 14.5 at -115 in 6 of the last 8 playoff games. He shot 58% on threes against Miami in the regular season. And I'm a Brogdon guy. He's clutch. He rises to the occasion. And I think he's going to perform well tonight. He's been very consistently in the mid-teens throughout these playoffs. And so I think he's going to continue that. Do I have your attention with Brogdon at 14.5?
Yeah, and Brogdon is very interesting one. I said that this guy right here is going to end up being one of the best off-season acquisitions of the NBA season, and we're starting to see it kind of play out right now, coming in at 14.5, 6 out of the last 10. Now, Boston does defend the position well, but if I had to choose a side on this one, Brogdon probably finishes with about 15 or 16 points.
It won't. He's probably not going to shatter this number, but I do like the over. Okay, I want to go back to your props about Robert Williams here. You've got a couple of fades on Robert Williams. It's Rick Kamla, Corey Parson. He's in for Lisa Ann tonight. We are Bettor Sports Live on Bettor Sports Network. You're under 7.5 and under 16.5. I imagine that's points and rebounds combo. Why are you fading Robert Williams tonight?
Not really getting it done this year in the playoffs. You look over the course of the last month or so, got a 10-game sample size right here, going over that number 3 times, not to mention the fact tough defensive matchup tonight going up against the Miami Heat. They're going to make everything a little bit more difficult. So I think you've really seen it from your best players. So that under 7.5 is the point. I like that. I like the points, rebounds, and assists as well. Under 16.5 on Robert Williams. I says, he's really a defensive player. Grab boards, get rebounds, and obviously, you know what I'm saying. He's kind of like Anthony Davis, so you got to keep him healthy.
Now, I want to piggyback on what you're saying here. Because I like where your head is at. Corey, let me ask you a question. Does Robert Williams look like the same human pogo stick that he was last year?
No.
He does not. No. He does not look like that to me at all. I think Bam Adebayo is going to have his way with Robert Williams. I really do. And so I co-sign this one, man. I really do. I will fade Robert Williams. God bless the young man, right? It's the knee injury coming back too soon. They got to cut you again, and now you come back, and you're just not quite the same dude. Hopefully, because he ain't going to get right the rest of these playoffs. I mean, who he is right now is who he's going to be. Guys don't get healthier by playing. And so hopefully this offseason he can really get it right. All right, let me hit you with another one here. I've got Jaylen Brown, and this is going to marry with the next one I want to go over to you with. And Jaylen Brown, I've got the over on him, Corey, at 24.5 points, -115. He's been a rock star in both game ones so far in these playoffs. He's averaging 26 points per game and shooting 61%. He comes out like a big old lion, man, and like the stud that he is. Regular season against Boston, he went off. 30 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 50 from the field, 40 from 3, and 88 from 3, and that's over a 3-game sample size. And yes, that's against Heat culture. Brown is going to come out aggressive. To me, Corey, it's the boomerang effect. It goes back to the Jason Tatum career game theory, okay? Yep. He's coming back. Brown's going to spike back up. It's just how that accordion works, man. So I think we're going to see that action going on tonight. We're both fading, okay, Jason Tatum at 29.5. I've got Brown over 24.5 points. And tell the people why you've got Brown over 2.5 threes.
I got Brown over 2.5 threes because it's not really something that the Miami Heat do successfully well over the past month. 29, well 29th on the season, excuse me. It's not 29 teams playing right now. But throughout the course of the regular season, defending the three-pointer was not something that they were great at. So I like him. Now, listen, I think the points is going to be close. I think it's about 24-25. That's going to be a sweat right there. But I do think he comes out and hits the threes. He'll get us the three-pointers, but helps that scoring as well. So I like your prop. I'm more bullish on the three-point prop.
I'm not mad at you. Jaylen Brown was a bell cow.
Let me say something about that 2.5, Rick.
Yeah,
that 2.5, that's the one that's the tricky one. Because that 2.5 is the one I've been successful betting the under on 2.5, particularly when Tyler Hero was healthy. That was just coming in every night. But with a guy like Brown in the situation he's in tonight, I agree.
It's a good spot for him. It really is. And I do like the you're right about the 24.5. It is going to be a sweat. He has lived in the mid-20s. I have lost over props on Brown by the hook. I have these playoffs. He's been good to me as well. He was better to me in the regular season, right? When you get to just prey on chumps. I mean, obviously, it's very, very difficult in the playoffs. He's got to take on tougher defensive assignments, but I do like him tonight over 24.5. Now, let's get to my next prop here. And we talked about aiding Robert Williams. And I got a vibe on Bam Adebayo for this game and this series. All right.
Love it.
I think Jimmy Butler's going to have to guard a lot in this series. He didn't even hit 30 points. Jimmy Butler did not hit 30 points against the New York Knicks. I want to just say that a couple of times to the people so they can hear it. He averaged like 35 against Milwaukee and did not hit 30 against New York. Okay. And he said during that series, I don't have to score to help this team. He ain't out there gunning and trying to score 40 or 50. That's not Jimmy Butler. He's one of the best all-around players in the game. So I think he's going to have to balance out his energy, a lot of it on defense, a lot of it on offense. And Bam just has a great matchup. And so I think Bam is going to have to take on more scoring load in general. He has over the last three when he went 23, 18, and 23 all over this number. He just had three straight strong games against Robinson and Hardenstein, who are one of the best defensive duos at center in the league, okay? They defended the position extremely well in the regular season. And now you're getting Robert Williams, who both you and I think anatomically is not up to snuff, okay? Check this out, Corey, too. A little cherry on top. Bam Adebayo in the regular season against Boston averaged 25 a game, way over his regular average. 9 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 57%. So there's a bunch of over indicators here. 17.5, I'm going over on Bam. How do you like that one?
It's a tough one right here. I think you talked me into this one right here. I like what you're saying a lot. You're talking my language with Bam Adebayo, and especially when you look at that regular season point total against these Boston Celtics. He is a tough matchup for them. Now, with him, see, you know how it is, Rick, this right here is going to be a sweat and a close one as well. But I like Bam. Like I said, I'm going to add this. Here's the deal, right? You know, fantasy owners, sports bettors, we're romantic. If you burn us too many times, we'll go away. And Bam has burnt me too many times. You see what I'm saying? But I like what you're saying tonight.
I'm trying to think who is. Jason Tatum has been that guy for me. Okay. Corey, he it's all there, right? Coming off a bad game, it's all, the boomerang effect and all this. And it's just there was a prop I played against Atlanta, way back 2-3 weeks ago. It was 29.5. He got to 29 installed. And he missed a free throw late in the game, right? And so, literally a free throw, and it was kind of garbage time at the time. I just need one free throw. And he missed it and I lost. So Jason Tatum's been kind of that guy for me. All right, so hit me with Derek White here. Why you like his over on 3 balls at 1.5?
Same thing. Miami Heat going up against the 3, not really their strongest thing. And then let me switch my screen right here so I can bring up the Corey Parson data system. And when I bring up this system, this 1.5 number, he's gone over it 6 of the last 10, right, throughout the playoffs. But here's what's interesting, and this is why this one's worth a shot. It's plus 125 in most shops. So when you get a chance to hit a plus money prop, it really helps even out your night if you can hit that one. So I would put a little, I sprinkle a little bit on that one.
Okay. And then I got 2 Kyle Lowry props, and I'll lump them together here. First of all, wait, I just want to get your reaction here because I'm looking at my notes, not you at this particular moment. When I said I've got 2 Kyle Lowry props, what was your reaction to that? Are you like,
I said, wow.
Are you feeling it?
You know, I think I talked about this with you and Lisa Ann last week. You know, Miami was really a mid to bottom of the Eastern Conference team for most of the year. And I'm like, Kyle Lowry's washed up. And then the lights come on, and oh my goodness, this guy is like Kyle Lowry from 2019. He's hitting threes, he's getting charges. I mean, you really see the championship player that Kyle Lowry really is. You really see this guy's in his 18th season. You really have seen it in the postseason this year, how he can more or less be a dog, a DOG dog in the regular season. Then in the playoffs, he becomes a DAWG dog.
Oh, I see what you did there. And I like it. So the Lowry props I got are over 4.5 assists, plus money here, plus 100.
Nice.
I think that's the wrong side to bet this, man. They're going to need to score tonight. That may mean more of Kyle Lowry on the court, less of Gabe Vincent on the court, who's a deficient offensive player and a really dynamic defensive player. But we've seen Kyle Lowry play him off the floor a lot because Kyle Lowry is bringing much needed scoring to this lineup without Tyler Hero. But let's talk assists here. Over 4.5. He's been over this number in 4 of the last 6, and the unders were right at 4. Okay, so that's been the floor. We're usually over, so I like the over on 4.5. And then Corey, I like the over at 10.5 points, minus 115. Over this number in 4 of the last 6. His playing time has been up. He's playing around 30 minutes a game. And the stuff that I said, about Vincent, obviously they have to have his veteran guile on the floor. And you think about tonight, Corey, at TD Garden, behind enemy lines in Boston, Kyle Lowry's that kind of guy that Eric Spoelstra is going to want to be in the foxhole with. Not that he doesn't want to do that with Gabe Vincent, but like this just feels like a Kyle Lowry game to me. It really does.
100%. A game won on the road to go in there and steal the game. This is when players like Kyle Lowry step up. This is when head coaches like Eric Spoelstra step up. I know we're going to get into the coaching thing and Doc Rivers and all of that, but you see what Eric Spoelstra can do. This team can hang around down at the bottom of the East all year long, and just like that, he knows how to push the buttons, get the lineups together and right, and basically go into New York and win game 1, go into Milwaukee and win game 1, and tonight go into Boston and win game 1.
It's like that. And then tell them about Bam under 2.5 dimes, and we'll get out of here and we'll bring on our first guest, Matt Donnelly.
It never cashes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bam, it never cashes. Last 10, last 8, he's 2 to this one right here. I don't expect a lot of passing from Bam Adebayo. Boston's a team that has, throughout the regular season, a limited assist, particularly coming from big men. So that's a little shot one right there. That one is like not one of my top props, but I do like that one right there.
So it's interesting because he was a hit on this number over in the Milwaukee series. You remember the game 5 when he went 20, 10, and 10 and had the triple-double. I was over on his assist prop that night. But here's where we are, and here's how my Bam over 17.5 points marries perfectly with your under 2.5 assists. He has to score more, okay? If Jimmy Butler's going to be under 30 and doing all this defense, then Bam's got to up the scoring, up the shots, pass less. And so these bets marry right here. Matter of fact, folks, you could parlay it. Go over on Bam points, go under on his assists, and thank us later. But we are just getting started here, having a ball, as you can hear. It is Rick Kamla. It is Corey Parson in for the great Lisa Ann tonight. Better Boss is here. Ooh, he disagrees. He said Robert Williams will shut down Bam. Miami needs the 3-ball tonight. That is a great take right there by Better Boss. So we officially have a disagreement from our boss on our outlook on the game tonight. Can't wait to see how that all shakes out. But we got Matt Donnelly. We're going to be talking some NFL and some dynasty drafting and looking ahead to the upcoming season with Matt Donnelly, our guy at Fantasy Vipers, with me, Rick Kamla, and him, Corey Parson, right here on Better Sports Live.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
One player in minor league baseball is crushing. He has 7 home runs already, 9 games, 6 in a row, 15 RBIs, crushing almost every category in AAA baseball right now. Now, we've seen this before with Mr. Joe Adell. That's right, Joe Adell for Heavy T's, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Joe Adell, defensive liability. I'm going to say that right now. Now, there's a lot of fantasy dynasty believers in him. I'll give you that. He is putting up numbers in the AAA level right now. But my goodness, is he going to be able to get at bats every day? I know there's the DH, but you also have Ohtani. Is there a world where we see Adell for the Angels be called up? Probably. But come on. But do I believe it or not in Joe Adell? Listen, he does have the offensive pedigree for your fantasy teams. High prospect. He once was a high prospect, very valued. He could easily come up and put up some numbers for your fantasy teams. Just where are they going to play him defensively? That's the only issue with him. So kudos to him for what he's doing. But ultimately, you got to think his time may be limited there in Anaheim. And I know that Heavy T's not a fan.
I can't stand Joe Adell, the biggest defensive liability. But you also kind of hit the hammer on the head there as well. He can't DH because Ohtani's a DH. So what do you do? So he's performing this well in AAA. You can only do one thing. The Angels need a lot of bullpen help. Trade him while his value is high. Give me someone like Daniel Bard, maybe an Aroldis Chapman, David Bednar out in Pittsburgh. Give me somebody, a couple pieces to fix his bullpen and get this man out of the farm system. I cannot stand Joe Adell. Dude cannot catch a ball to save his life. He can't react to a ball. He's throwing balls to the Astros dugout from the outfield instead of home plate. Get this dude off my team. Cannot stand him. Don't want him. It's kind of like the Mike Singletary speech. I want winners. This guy's not a winner. Get him the hell off my team. Don't want him. Get him out of here.
Welcome to Monday Night Rants with Heavy T.
I can't with this dude. I just can't. Every time I see him in an Angels uniform and he's playing the outfield, I lose about 3 hours of my life. It's just gone, and I'm never getting it back. And
well, good news. Good news. Only 2.5 hours this year.
That does not make me feel any better. That makes me feel worse.
Okay.
Oh my God, Joe Adell, go away.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
That's right. It is Bettor Sports Live. It is Rick Kamla and Corey Parson in for Lisa Ann tonight, and I am pissed. I'm watching the Yankees and Blue Jays game right now. Chris Bassett has 2 Ks through 1 2/3. I'm over on his K prop at 5.5, and the home plate umpire just should have rung him up on Willie Calhoun. Was lowing in right on the paint, and he didn't give it to him. And Bassett was pissed. And then Bassett throws a lollipop on the full count and gives up a walk. So Bassett, strike him out here. Help out your boy Cam. We have Matt Donnelly with us. Matt, we got our eye on baseball. We got our eye on the NBA later, and we never take our eye off of that bouncing football. First of all, how are you, my friend? Are you adding a little beard to the stash, or what's going on here? Talk to us, man.
I'm a hurting unit there, Rick. I mean, I just came out of hip replacement surgery here about 3 weeks ago now. So had the staples removed last Wednesday. So we're kind of progressing here. And of course, I'm an idiot, and I like to push things to the limit as much as possible. So I've been really pushing the rehab, which has been pretty much hurting everything else down there. So other than that, though, it's given me a lot of time to work on my captain impression there and do a lot of side eye action on the side and making sure I get one eye on fantasy football and the other on baseball right now.
Sorry to hear about that, man. Hip surgery. Wow. I hope nothing but the best for you with that. And I hope you kill the rehab and come out very, very good on the back end of that. All right. 0-2 count here for Bassett real quick. Let's see if we get this K. It's right on the black, and this time he rings him up. 3 Ks through 2 for Bassett. I like it. All right, Matt. Let's get into some. Let's get into some dynasty stuff right here. In terms of the Bijan Robinson, in all the buzz we're hearing out of Atlanta right now, they're going to throw to him. They're going to give him the ball to run. They're going to let him throw the football. That was a joke, that last part. But obviously, he's the number 1 pick in dynasty drafts. But like, how big is the upside we're talking about here? It seems to me, Matt and Corey, that he might lead all running backs in touches. Is that a crazy thought right now, or is that kind of where your mind is drifting off too?
I don't know if he's going to lead all backs in touches, but he's definitely going to be right up there. I've got him going in right now as my RB2, I think, going into the season, just because we know what Arthur Smith likes to do. He likes to run the ball. It doesn't matter. He ran the ball with Cordell Patterson last year, Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley. It doesn't matter who Arthur Smith has. He's going to run the ball. Unless we have a drastic improvement in Desmond Ridder. By the way, I like Ridder. I like him a lot. But if he hasn't drastically improved his passing game, he's going to run the ball. They're going to look to take a little bit of pressure off him. And they're going to have to hope that guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts are efficient with the opportunities that they get. We know Drake London can be efficient with them. He had a good season, one of the more efficient pass catchers in an offense that didn't really have a whole lot of catchable balls. Now, we know that this Falcons offense was not good. It was near the bottom in just about everything until you add in the running attack. They're one of the best running teams in the league. I think they were a top 10 offense straight across the board as far as the runs are concerned. I don't see that changing. I really don't, especially when you add a guy like Bijan Robinson, who is already going to be one of the best backs in the league. Now, I put him right up there with Ezekiel Elliott, with Saquon Barkley when they came out and had that high draft capital put on them. Typically, what we've seen in running backs that have had that high of draft capital invested, they're going to have success. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, these are the backs that kind of come to mind having success immediately year one.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, a lot of people talk about, how can you trust them? I'm like, well, how did we trust Zeke? How did we trust Barkley? How did we trust? Now, there's been some C.J. Anderson and some other guys that didn't make it. But for the most part, when we project the rookie running back to do well, that is the case. And I do believe really only Christian McCaffrey on my board. Second running back to go off the board this year, also going in the first round, was Jahmyr Gibbs, dynamic weapon from the University of Alabama. He gets with Detroit. And they were like, what is it? Detroit, they got DeAndre Swift, but then they don't got DeAndre Swift. But like Swift didn't pop, but Gibbs is a better player than Swift, right?
Yeah, I would think that's about as true as you can be. When you look at guys who can make plays in that second level, I would argue that Jahmyr Gibbs is a better player than Bijan Robinson once in the open field. And if you look at how Alabama used him, they used him in the slot, they used him on the outside, and they used him obviously in the backfield. DeAndre Swift, Dan Campbell is old school. There's no doubt about what Dan Campbell feels. And if you're not available, then you're no good to me. And that's basically what he said to DeAndre Swift. As soon as Swift became unavailable, he was no longer going to be on this team. The one thing I love about Detroit, outside of them being a top 5 scoring offense last season, I think both these running backs have good potential in fantasy this season. Yes, I'm talking about a running back that we love to hate, and that's David Montgomery. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do his thing out of the slot. PPR leagues, he's going to absolutely crush it. Again, another running back with top 12 draft capital, which means we are expecting him to be used very well and very often there in Detroit. But that doesn't mean David Montgomery is going anywhere. This Detroit Lions team, they like to bully you. They were literally averaging 1.84 yards per carry before contact last season. There's a reason why Jamal Williams had like 17 touchdowns. And I don't think that's going anywhere. I think that's going to be right up David Montgomery's alley. So I would be shocked if Detroit did not have 2 top 15 running backs when it comes to fantasy. And I could see David Montgomery has been, over the last 3 seasons, has averaged RB19 in fantasy. He's another one of those running backs like Miles Sanders, like Josh Jacobs, that we love to forget about when it comes to our fantasy drafts. And now with Jahmyr Gibbs, it's probably scaring a few more people and pushing Montgomery down the boards. But these two backs can coexist in this offense, much like we've seen with some of these other prolific offenses in the years past with these two backs.
Matt, would you draft them on the same team?
You know what,
and put them in a lineup together?
I think I'd be okay with that because I think they offer 2 different skill sets. And I think you're going to see both these backs on the field at the same time. I think you could put David Montgomery in that backfield, put Laporta there at tight end, and then you're going to mix and match what you ever got in the wide receivers there with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs out of the slot, and then maybe Jameson Williams once he comes back from suspension. And now you've got yourself a very scary offense. You got Williams who can stretch the field. You got Gibbs who's going to work underneath. You got St. Brown who does St. Brown type things, Laporta working underneath, which means David Montgomery is going to be going against boxes that are not even close to being stacked, and he's going to have a big league. So there's no one you can't put a safety on Gibbs. You can't put a corner on Gibbs, and you sure as heck can't put a linebacker on Gibbs in space. So I think this is Detroit creating mismatches all over this field.
Corey, you helped me with the whole vibe I have on drafting in general this year. And Matt, of course, you too. It is Matt Donnelly hanging out with Rick Kamla and Corey Parson. Corey is in for Lisa, and Matt is in because he's a stud. He's with Fantasy Pros. He's with Vipers Network. A great source for Dynasty, but all basically football elements. I don't want to pigeonhole you at all, my friend. I am literally with every league that I have, I am going to push running backs until third, fourth, fifth, sixth round. Okay. It's going to be bang, bang, wide in rounds 1 and round 2. You can have Derrick Henry, you can have Bijan Robinson, you can have all these guys. I'm building with wides, and I just feel like, guys, what game do we play in fantasy football? We play the leapfrog game. We're always picking up the running back that spikes. A guy got hurt. He got 21 carries. He scored, had 85 yards. All my fob going on him. We play that game all year. Okay. Why do we play that game all year? Because it's the most tumultuous position possibly in professional sports. Guys get hurt all the time. So I just don't believe in investing top dollar in guys that literally welcome the shredder 20 times every week. So you think about this Detroit backfield. You think about some of the split backfields. I mean, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, I will mess all day with those guys, right? Like, they're going to be productive. And so you mix and match, you find good matchups, you find hot streaks, and you lily pad hop with running back. And then you got 3 wides that are just nasty. And everybody in your league is jealous of them. So the Detroit backfield thing marries perfectly with that, because I'm all about Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd be all about David Montgomery. So, Matt, you first on that. Is that kind of how you're going to stack your drafts as well, or where's your head at with that?
You know what? I've seen every single possible method work out. I mean, if you want to go 0 RB, good on you. If you want to go anchor RB, good on you. If you want to go robust RB, good on you. I mean, I don't think there's one way that's better than the rest. I've seen it comes down to how you break it all down and your in-season management of your team and everything else that kind of goes into it. The one thing I have seen, though, when I look at these drafts is if you're not getting a running back in the first probably 3 or 4 rounds, you're really going to be scraping the barrel come rounds 5 and 6, because a lot of these running backs are still going off the board early, and then it gets really, really thin where you're really hoping for a player to step up. Now, for me, I'm really into the anchor RB strategy. I still feel that I really need that one stud either in round 1 or round 2, depending on where I'm going to pick. Now, I've got a bunch of wide receivers up near the top of my board. Justin Jefferson, he's my 101. If I'm sitting at 101, I'm going Justin Jefferson all day, every day. And on the back end, I'm looking at around 2 or 3, grabbing a running back and a wide receiver. That's just kind of how I'm playing it there. Now, depending on where that round kind of follows, I think you're going to get good investment there. The further back you are in round number 1, then I'm thinking maybe grab a stud running back and then grab another wide receiver in the second round. So it kind of all depends on where it's going to fall, where that value is going to be. But for me, I like to have at least one stud running back to kind of anchor my fantasy roster.
Matt, let's talk about the guys that get the big bucks. That is the quarterback position. We see a couple of guys that we think as rookies should come in and start right away. Bryce Young being one of them, obviously. Also feel pretty good about C.J. Stroud being out there week 1 and Anthony Richardson as well. I think the rest we can kind of wait and see. Do you think any of these quarterbacks can flirt with a top 12 fantasy finish this year?
Flirt with it? I think it's possible. I really do, because we've seen quarterbacks, even though they may struggle passing the ball, if they can make something happen with their legs, they have the potential. And right off the get-go, there's no denying that Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson can make plays with their legs. Now, C.J. Stroud, he wasn't really asked to do a whole lot with his legs. I'm sure he can do it, but he's definitely the more refined passer, I think, in my opinion, of the 3, the more pro-ready, so to speak. But, I mean, Richardson and Bryce Young, they give you that Konami code upside. And especially Anthony Richardson, who may kind of maybe take a little chunk out of guys like Jonathan Taylor this season, because when they get down on the goal line, we've seen what the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts last season. And guess who the coach is in Indianapolis? Same guy. So expect a lot of the same type of offense to be run with Anthony Richardson as they ran with Jalen Hurts last season, just to kind of get him ready. He's not quite polished as a passer, but he can definitely run and make plays happen with his legs. And anytime that you can pick up those yards with your legs and get those rushing touchdowns, you're going to flirt with top 12 production there in fantasy.
Matt Donnelly hanging out with Rick Kamla and Corey Parson on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Donnelly FF. Donnelly spelled Donnelly. Yes, 2 N's and 2 L's. Who is your running back 3 on your dynasty rankings beyond the obvious 2 of Bijan and Jahmyr? Who's number 3 on your list?
Right now, I mean, I always go back and forth. I'm like Bruce Lee here. I move like water, but right now, when we look at my rankings, I got Robinson at number 1. I got Breece Hall at number 2 as far as dynasty rankings. And then Jonathan Taylor, I still think he's still the guy there in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson is going to take a little bit of his thunder from him. But remember, if this Indianapolis Colts offensive line gets back to where it was a couple seasons ago, there's no doubt that this could be a whole thing with Philadelphia. Remember, Miles Sanders was 5th in rushing yards just a season ago behind the best graded offensive line there, according to PFF, in the Philadelphia Eagles. If this Indianapolis Colts line can get it right, then you can see Jonathan Taylor have another bit of a resurgence. But like I said, if I look at how these running backs all play out in Dynasty, not necessarily redraft, it's going to be Robinson, it's going to be Hall, it's going to be Taylor. And then I like Gibbs right up there too. He's just flirting on the outside looking in.
I should have framed my question a little bit differently there, Matt. The third best rookie running back for you, behind Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. Because I'm curious. I like Devon A-Chain. I like Chase Brown. I like Charbonnet. Now that we know, at least Pete Carroll's saying it could be a split up there in Seattle. So which third rookie running back are you looking at?
It gets interesting because, like you said, Rashawn Johnson there in Chicago is going to have an opportunity. He is a Chicago Bear running back through and through, a downhill runner between the tackles. He's going to like to thump some guys there. Kendre Miller's got some opportunity there in New Orleans. I can't see Alvin Kamara being there beyond the season. Jamal Williams short term. But for me, it's Zach Charbonnet. I mean, even in a split backfield with Kenneth Walker there, I think he's going to be effective because what Charbonnet does best is play action. He can run the ball between the tackles, and he can do one thing that – unfortunately, Walker's never been asked to, whether it's at Wake Forest or Michigan State. He's never been asked to catch the ball. And Zach Charbonnet is a very good pass-catching back, which gives him a little bit more fantasy appeal, obviously, especially in PPR leagues. So right now, I've got Charbonnet in there. I mean, I don't really love anything else. Tajay Spears, if Derrick Henry moves on, but then you're dealing with the knee injuries there. I mean, Tank Bigsby is a build-a-back kind of guy. He's like 5'10", 210 pounds. He's basically built how you like a running back, and he played in a very poor Auburn offense, and he's sitting there behind Travis Etienne, but that's really his only path to opportunity there is Travis Etienne. So Bigsby could surprise a lot of people, but right now I got Charbonnet at number 3.
Interesting and good stuff as well, Matt. Tight ends was a big talk in the NFL draft this year. Really, outside of Travis Kelce, Andrews, and I guess this year we'll probably see a big jump up from our guy. I can't think his name right now. Was traded Hockenson. Out of the rookie tight ends, they normally don't hit fantasy wise in year one, but we got guys like Kincaid and Meyer. Do they hit? Can they be drafted and started as a fantasy one, or is these guys you put on your bench and see what happens?
I think this is a buyer beware as any rookie tight end situation we've ever seen. I would love to say that Kincaid is going to have a Cole Beasley type role there in Buffalo, playing the slot more than a typical tight end. Opportunity is there. I'd like to say Michael Meyer is going to be fine because I think Hunter Renfrow gets cut or traded come June 1st, giving him an opportunity. And Sam Laporta is the guy there in Detroit at the tight end position. Those 3 tight ends have an opportunity to do something, but it's always buyer beware when you're talking about rookie tight ends because we haven't had a rookie tight end hit off the get-go in quite some time. I can't think of one right off the get-go here who hit day one and kind of maintained that value throughout the entire season. Now, the one tight end I do like that could be sneaky is the unicorn himself there in Darnell Washington because the dude is a freak. The dude's like 6'7", and he's going to be an absolute weapon, a mismatch down in the red zone. No one's going to be able to jump with him. No one's going to be able to do nothing with Darnell Washington. And Pickett can't throw very far, so it's perfect for him. So, I mean, Darnell Washington is kind of a sneaky play there, but I mean, I can't get behind any of these tight ends day number 1 simply because we haven't seen it. It doesn't mean it won't happen because 3 of them have good opportunities to make something happen. We just haven't seen it, so I kind of have that buyer beware kind of feel with it.
Understood. We've got Matt Donnelly breaking it down with us, Rick Kamla, and Corey Parson here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. Let's talk about some of these rookie wide receivers, Matt. And it's not a great crew, but it's, I think, a better crew than the running back crew. This is not a great season for dynasty football and the rookies coming out. There's some hot shots and some big names and big dudes, but there have been a lot better thicker, richer draft classes of skill player and quarterback talent than this year. All of that said, who is among rookies, Matt, your wide receiver 1 in dynasty drafts? Is it Jackson Smith and Jigba? Is it Jordan Addison? Where are you going there?
I look at this in two different ways. In Dynasty, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. I see him being a Cooper Kupp-esque type player there for the Seattle Seahawks, even with Tyler Lockett. Please, let's put some respect on Tyler Lockett's name. He's not going anywhere. We always want to count Tyler Lockett out like he's Doug Baldwin. He gets no respect ever. But JSN is probably going to be 2-3 years down the road the best wide receiver in this class because of his ability to – his route running is right up there. But right now, this season, there's another wide receiver that runs routes just as good who's going to have a greater opportunity share, and that's Jordan Addison. So if I'm looking at redraft, I'm going Jordan Addison. If I'm talking dynasty, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba there. So that's kind of where I separate those two. And those are obviously at the top. They're not my guy, but those are definitely the two guys at the top of the board.
Let me ask you, Matt, when you look at a team like the Baltimore Ravens who consistently strike out at the wide receiver position, and who consistently bring in the wrong type of player. They bring in Deshaun Jackson for a quarterback like Lamar, who Lamar likes the middle of the field. They go get Deshaun Jackson. Now, I know they're going into a new offense this year, but I still think Lamar's the same player, and you want to work to his strength. Zay Flowers is a fade for me. Curious of your thoughts on Flowers.
I do like Flowers. I think he's going to create problems for opposition. I mean, the guy can stop and start on a dime, and I think he's going to work it like no one else can. But you got to remember, let's not forget about Rashad Bateman. When Bateman was in the lineup and Lamar Jackson was in the lineup, I think Jackson was averaging over 35 fantasy points per game with Rashad Bateman. This is the first time Baltimore has really invested in pass catchers for Lamar Jackson. I mean, you mentioned Deshaun Jackson, Nelson Aguilar. I mean, we're talking about guys that they never give him. Yeah. Oh, say what you will about Odell Beckham Jr., but at least he's a name brand with Flowers, with Mark Andrews, with Bateman. You're like, oh, you know what? This offense, this is a scary offense. And you've still got to deal with a couple dudes in the backfield outside of Lamar Jackson in J.K. Dobbins, who's, again, underrated, and my man, Gus Edwards. So this offense is going to keep teams off balance for most of the season. And I really think Baltimore has a huge bounce back. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to flirt with top 3 fantasy production from the quarterback position because he's got weapons now to work with all across the board.
Amazing stuff with Matt Donnelly, man. Matt, give me a sleeper wide receiver from the rookie class here. Are you feeling Quentin Johnston? Are you feeling Jonathan Mingo with Carolina? Do you think Jaden Reed is going to get the 3-hole up there in Green Bay? Downs with Indianapolis, Tillman maybe in the starting lineup, maybe Rashee Rice with Kansas City. Give me one of those guys, or maybe somebody I didn't mention that you think is a sleeper among the rookie class at wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 here that come to my mind right off. Get Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma. Dude was averaging 17.2 yards per target his last season, which is better than what CeeDee Lamb did. And he's coming to a Denver Broncos offense that we want to be explosive. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler. None of them can stay healthy. None of them stayed healthy at any point last season, which means Marvin Mims has an opportunity to obviously make up some ground here during training camp. But you mentioned my guy there, Jaden Reed. He is my guy right now. You're talking about a guy with over a 70% success rate against man versus zone versus press coverage, 50% or greater contested catch rate, 3 straight seasons at Michigan State. He is a guy who can stretch the field. And Jim Nagy literally said this is one of those guys who could be the best wide receiver from this group in 5 years in time. So when you look at everything with that, Jaden Reed is that guy that I really like what he does. He plays the X, he plays flanker, he plays slot. You can put him anywhere in your lineup, and he's got himself a young quarterback that's going to be looking for a reliable target. So I think he's already past Romeo Doubs already, and I think he's coming for Christian Watson right now. I really do. I think he's right there because what he's going to be able to give Jordan Love is a security blanket there, a guy who's going to win those contested catches, a guy who's going to get open. And if you're going to get open, even Jordan Love should be able to find you.
Matt Donnelly breaking it down one more for you, my friend. I just want to ask you about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, and just simply like this, you can take you where you want to take it. Are they going to make the playoffs this year? One of the 7 in the AFC. Are you willing to go there? Is that too rich for your blood?
That's too rich for my blood, man. That AFC is going to be an absolute crapshoot right now. It's going to be a slugfest. You can go through every division except maybe the AFC South, and you can find 2 or 3 contenders. I mean, look at the North. Who do you eliminate from the North? You know, Pittsburgh, as bad as Pittsburgh's going to be, they're going to be in the mix, right? They're going to be in that 9-8 range all season long. That's what they are. That's who they are. That's how Mike Tomlin, he gets his guys ready to play. Cleveland's going to be better. Deshaun Watson's second season. Then you've got Cincinnati. Then you've got Baltimore. Those teams, Baltimore and Cincinnati, are already almost in there. And then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos are going to flirt with the playoffs potentially, so they're going to be in the mix. And then you got the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins. I mean, there's teams all over. I mean, the Jets have an opportunity to. I'm not going to guarantee them in there, even with Aaron Rodgers. They should. They got a good defense. They finally got a quarterback. They should be able to do something. They should be able to contend. They should be able to make a playoff run. I'm just, with how deep that AFC is, if the Jets are playing in the NFC, absolutely, they'd be in. No doubt about it. No question about it. The NFC is so watered down, especially at the quarterback position. That said, there's so many good teams in the AFC. It is going to be an absolute slugfest to battle for those positions. And that's going to come right down to week number 17, week number 18.
Matt, tell the people where to watch you, listen to you, and read you.
Yeah, I mean, you can catch me just about everywhere. They're obviously on the Vipers Network on the YouTube channel. I do a bunch of shorts, do some individual videos, and we have the Viper Cast there with Major and Tara. I mean, if you don't know who Major and Tara Roberts are, you're hiding under a rock or something. Two of the best people in the business right now. And then obviously catch some of my writing over at Fantasy Proser. I do some collaborations with the guys. And then on Fantasy Points, I'll do some more videos and shorts over there from time to time as well. So I kind of get around a little bit here and there, but hopefully you catch me a little bit more on the Bettor Sports Network a little bit later too. Yeah,
for sure, Matt. Again, we wish you well with the hip surgery, man. Are you on Percocet right now, or are you, where are you at with the painkillers type of situation?
I dropped the painkillers about 2 days after post-op. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that likes to rely on my body and my body telling me what to do and how that kind of works out. I mean, the first couple of nights are good to help you get to sleep, but after that, hey, let Mother Nature take its course, tell you what to do. And this is a good thing because I'm getting the other hip done later this season.
Oh, man, bro.
If I time it just right, though, I hit it during football season, and that should buy me at least 6 weeks of Sunday football without the kids being around. So that's kind of what we're hoping for right now.
Well, Matt, all the best with that. Once again, man, all the best with that. Don't do too much. Don't go out there and dunk in the backyard, okay? Keep it grounded, keep it cool. But, Matt, you're our guy. It's a pleasure to be back on with you, man. Oh, he's got the cane right there.
There you go.
Well, he'll still be giving the great fantasy advice. I know that. Matt, you the man. Be well, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. You all take care.
That is our guy, Matt Donnelly. So tell you what, Corey, I want to tag this this great interview with a quick Anthony Richardson conversation. I'm an Anthony Richardson guy. I mocked him to the Colts at number 4. Like I'm a believer in this guy. This year, though, we're going to get to NFL win totals later on. I can tell you right now that the Colts at 6.5 is the all-time under, okay? I love his like upside and future and all that. I just don't see it coming to a beautiful boil this year with Anthony Richardson. So where are you at with that? Are you an Anthony Richardson guy? Did you mock him to the Colts at number 4? And do you see this year being positive and successful or not?
Now, I am an Anthony Richardson guy. So let's start that. Now, I love what I think he's going to be able to do for fantasy. Shane Steichen's 6-back attack, where you make the quarterback a weapon on turf with a runner like Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. I think it's going to be some fantasy fireworks. So I am an Anthony Richardson guy. I will go into the season kind of like a Cam Newton type rookie year where he's on the bench. And as soon as I see the electricity, bam, he's in my starting lineup right on top.
I did that with Justin Fields last year.
How about that? It worked out. I was an anti-Justin Fields guy. I'm not this year.
So hold on a second. What you said you were a Fields guy or you were not?
I was anti.
Oh, why were you? I've always been a Justin Fields guy. I crushed the Jets for taking Zach Wilson over Justin Fields. I thought that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Why were you not a Fields guy, and how did he make you a Fields guy?
I don't do Ohio State quarterbacks, and then the fact that they were not letting him throw the football was, even though some people will say that Fields is a Georgia quarterback, but the fact that they weren't letting him throw the football, to me, I'm like, well, he can't throw. But what he was able to do with fantasy points, I'm on Fields as a fantasy asset. As the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, I think it's going to be struggles.
I do understand that, my friend. I do. That is Corey Parson. He is in for the great Lisa Ann tonight. I'm Rick Kamla, and we're Bettor Sports Live. We love having you guys and girls along for the ride. Corey, tell them what's up, man.
All right, it's PGA Championship week, and Fantasy Alarm has everything you need to dominate daily fantasy or bet the tournament. Go to fantasyalarm.com and get a free trial plus your first 6 months at 50% off with promo code ALARM50. Plus, you get DFS playbook for all sports and complete NFL fantasy coverage, including the fantasy football draft guide. That's coming soon. It's all that and more at fantasyalarm.com. All right, there you go right there.
All right, Corey, so let's come back and talk Victor Wembanyama. He is going to the San Antonio Spurs. The NBA draft lottery was last night. I can still hear Spurs owner Peter Holt, yeah, let's go, yeah. Like, that was so awesome, man. I would have taken my suit off and just run around the studio naked, man. We got Bettor.
Yeah. Like, oh, Rick, relax. What? Rick, put your clothes back on. We on live.
It
Mike Green be like, bang.
No, you know what would have happened? You know what? A security would have tackled me, and Kevin Harlan would have been announcing it like the guy on the field of the football game. Then Kamla tries to run, and he gets blasted by a security guard. Oh, man. But Wemby is a Spur. Let's talk about this, and we'll get into the Nuggets victory over the Lakers in game 1 of the West Finals. And right around the corner, guys, we have Heat and Celtics, game 1 from Boston, 8:30 Eastern. You're in a good spot on Bettor Sports Network.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
Calvin Ridley yesterday, he applied for reinstatement from the National Football League.
Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence. That is crazy potent on offense.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, Ridley's great.
I think Trevor Lawrence is a guy I want in fantasy this year.
I think you're probably right. I think they're just going to get better and better. First off, Peterson's a wonderful offensive mind, a great head coach, and we've seen that and saw that this year as Jacksonville made it to the postseason. And Trevor Lawrence, anybody that questioned whether or not he could play in the National Football League or just how good he was going to be in the NFL, those questions were answered this past season as in the second half of the year. Statistically speaking, he was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. That's how good Trevor Lawrence is. You throw Calvin Ridley into the mix, it's going to be great. Yeah, I think Lawrence is a guy you want. I think Ridley's a guy you want. Clearly, Travis Etienne is going to be one of those early first-round selections as well, being the dual-threat running back that he is, not only running, but also catching the ball out of the backfield, Keith, and the ability to take something small and take it to the house. Take a 5-yard dump pass, make a guy miss in the open field, and he's gone. I mean, you saw that with Travis Etienne this past season for Jacksonville. Yeah, sky's the limit. I mean, I think you're going to go from a team in the year span where you wanted no part of the Jacksonville Jaguars when you're looking at fantasy football to where you want as many Jaguars as you possibly can because they're going to be really, really productive. And let's see if they get their tight end back as well, who had
Evan Ingram was great.
And Evan Ingram, who was great this past season.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep that whole core together, their offense is going to be one of the best in football. Like, I legitimately think that they could be one of the best offenses in football.
Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, then you throw
Ridley,
Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence, a good offensive line, and you've got Doug Peterson being creative calling.
Right?
And you look at that division. The Colts are a mess.
Yep.
Titans
look like they're on the downslide.
Titans are on the downslide, right? That window is clearly closed. And then you got the Houston Texans.
Years away from relevancy.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville could win 11 games next year.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
We're back on Bettor Sports Live. No Lisa Ann tonight, and that stinks. But we have Corey Parson tonight, and that rocks, okay? I'm Rick Kamla, and we're rolling. Corey, we are very close to cashing an early ticket here in the Blue Jays and Yankees game.
Oh, he's rolling, huh?
Chris Bassett, the homie, has 5 Ks through 3 innings. We went over on 5.5 Ks tonight. He's thrown 33 strikes on 48 pitches. So far, it's bagel. Cole against Bassett, really good pitchers duel. And this is captivating me here. A little appetizer, Corey, for the big enchilada, which will come up at 8:30, which is game one between Boston and Miami. Corey is on Miami money line. I'm on Miami +8. Corey, I believe you're on Miami +8 as well. But yeah, our boy Bassett here is one little strikeout away from cashing a ticket for the people.
Good job right there. Obviously, come out there, home environment. He's keeping the good times rolling that he's been pitching with all season. Really doing a good job with that Yankee lineup, painting the black, like you say, getting those strikeouts. So he's got his good stuff tonight.
So, Corey, I want you to go first on this one, man. Victor Wembanyama is an NBA player soon. He will be drafted by the San Antonio Spurs. And let's just dispense with all of they have the rights to Victor. And no, they're taking Victor, okay? He wants to be a Spur. He talked about this. And Peter Holt is not yelping and freaking out on the dais for Scoot Henderson, okay, who's a terrific prospect, but that's not happening for Scoot Henderson. So let me ask you this, Corey. Is Victor Wembanyama the greatest prospect in NBA history?
I'm not going to go that far. To me, the greatest prospect in NBA history will continue to be LeBron James, and then after that, really was Zion Williamson. But now you have Wembanyama coming into the NBA with this incredibly unique skill set, where this man is really a 7'4" guard. Remember back in our time when growing up, a guy that was 7'4" was Sean Bradley, Manute Bol. Those guys were dunking dummies. Now you got a guy at 7'4" that can bring the ball down and hit threes. What in the DNA is going on, Rick? So listen, I think it's going to be interesting.
And his parents don't even look like monsters either. They look like normal-sized people. I don't even understand how 7'4" came out of that combo.
It's wild to get a 7'5" Frenchman like that. But a lot of those Frenchmen, Andre the Giant from the French Alps and stuff like that. So a lot of those Frenchmen do have the gift of height. But this guy is coordinated. He can shoot a basketball. He shoot a three, get his own rebound, one-handed dunk. Now, is that going to happen in the NBA? Who knows? But listen, here's the thing. When I first got into this business, my first gig was with the legendary Georgetown University coach John Thompson. And around the NBA draft time, he would always get on the phone with his buddy David Falk. He was a David Falk client as well. And they would talk NBA draft. And Thompson would always tell his players or Falk's guys, you want to end up with the San Antonio Spurs, because they always give you a good chance to have a good start to your career. Even if you're not playing right away, or even if you're not that successful right away, Pop is going to hang in there. He's going to develop the talent. You're going to a team. Listen, they haven't been great lately, but Rick, they just missed the playoffs for the first time in the past 20 years, like last year. This team was close to making the play-in tournament last year. Now this year, they tank all the way out. They get Wembanyama, and you know what? They're going and Pop going to coach them right back up. And they are very good. They have a history of being a good landing spot for international players, despite Charles Barkley not being a big fan of the co-eds in San Antonio.
That's what you said. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in San Antonio. I love that city. The people are phenomenal. They're still honking their horns down the streets of downtown San Antonio right now. I've been down there when they've won championships. You're trying to get back to the hotel from the arena, and it's like gridlock. And so it's like, it's 1:30 a.m. It's 2 o'clock. When are we going to get to the hotel? It's like, and they're just hanging out of pickup trucks and cars and partying their face off, man. Good for them. And I know that's all going on in San Antonio right now. I do believe, Corey, I'm not saying that Victor's going to be better than LeBron. Not saying that. Or Tim Duncan, or Allen Iverson, or Shaquille O'Neal, or Hakeem Olajuwon, or Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, all of like the greatest draft prospects of all time. Kevin Garnett, once upon a time, was a really, really, really big deal. Kobe Bryant. But I feel like, Corey, there have been, and this is my experience, okay, working, basically on a national platform for the NBA for 20 years, covering the league going back to the mid-90s, and just all the conversations and accumulating and consuming all of the narratives. There was more knocks against LeBron and Zion than I have heard about Victor. And the knock on LeBron, I know it's like, how could there be knocks on LeBron? When I first saw him, it was the McDonald's All-American game. And I came on NBA TV later that night, and I said, oh, my God, I saw the merging of Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson in the same guy. After one time watching him play, I said that. And it's proven to be pretty accurate. But a lot of other people, will the jump shot translate? There's too much hype. He'll never live up to it. Like a lot of narratives and poo-pooing and doubting of LeBron. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. There were some, okay? And you think about Zion. He's too big. How will it translate? He's going to be injury prone. He was injury prone in high school. He was injury prone in college. And so, of course, he's going to be injury prone in the NBA. Unfortunately, that narrative has come to fruition. But with Victor, the only thing you have is he's 7'4", and a lot of times guys who are 7'4" don't make it very long. Okay. People want to comp him to Chet Holmgren. I get, no, don't do that. Victor has more meat on the bone. To me, he's got a better frame. The problem with Chet Holmgren, Corey, is the skinny shoulders to me. That's always bothered me with Chet Holmgren. If you have wide shoulders, you can put on man weight and muscle weight. Kevin Garnett did it. Scottie Pippen did it. Okay. And so I don't really know if Chet's going to put on weight and get kind of like rocked up and get the coat of armor. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be looking kind of frail for a long minute here. Victor, I think, is going to have the frame that you can put weight on that and make him an absolute juggernaut. So talk to me about the doubters that you've heard on Victor, if any, and compare it to the doubters you heard on Zion and LeBron.
This is so interesting that you bring this up, because I think it really brings us into what's going to be a very interesting topic as we move through to NBA draft night. You know what I mean? Sometime in July. Like we were LeBron James fan. We got sold LeBron James at 16 years old, cover of Sports Illustrated. I actually got to see King James play in Trenton at the shootout in Trenton. Remember when he took that suspension for getting that jersey to let him come back and play that game? Yes. I went down to South Jersey. I went down to Camden. And let me tell you something. You got to lock your doors in Camden, New Jersey. And I went down there and I was like, yo, this guy is really the real deal. You know what I'm saying? But it was doubters and naysayers. And then with Zion, you nailed it. Is this guy going to be able to stay healthy, carrying all this weight? If you're fat at 18, you're going to be fat at 25. You're going to be fat at 30. You know what I'm saying? And that's lined up. Played for Duke. NCAA tournament, Coach K, the legacy of Duke, the Cameron Crazies with Webb Mignogna. We don't know. We've never really seen him play. We don't really have an NCAA tournament to go off of like Steph Curry. He wasn't at North Carolina like Vince Carter. He wasn't at Ohio State. He didn't have this great college career with him. We heard about him last year this time, and then bam, he's here. So we haven't really had a chance to stigmatize and look at his game like that. But here's the thing that's so interesting. When you look at the top of this year's draft, it's these overtime elite guys. It's guys from out the country. Really, the only college basketball players, my man Jace from Houston and Brandon Miller from Alabama. And Brandon Miller has his off the court issues as well. So it's like, are we going into a territory where the top college basketball players are going to be like secondary stars in the NBA draft, while these overtime elite guys and stuff like that they really begin to be the ones that take and G League Ignite and all of that stuff? Are these guys going to be the future of the NBA draft?
They could be. I mean, there was the draft where Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green both came out of Ignite, the G League team, and I don't watch a whole lot of G League hoops, Corey. I'm busy watching the NBA bouncing ball and all this other stuff. But I did DVR some of those games, and it generated interest. And I didn't watch any G League games this past year, but I watched them when Kuminga and Jalen Green were there. So where did I want to go with you next here on Victor? In terms of, the fantasy of it all, Corey. And I don't know if you are in a fantasy basketball dynasty league. Are you in a fantasy basketball dynasty league?
No, I have a girlfriend.
So
I'm teasing.
I hear you. So Corey,
and I don't have a girlfriend, so I have plenty of time.
Match.com. It was very good. Match.com.
Kristen Mingle is more my speed.
Okay. Well, good luck out there and Godspeed. It's Rick Kamla and Corey Parson having a blast here on Better Sports Live. He's in for Lisa Ann tonight. I'm so excited, and especially that now that he went to San Antonio, I don't have to worry about a glut of bigs in Detroit or a glut of bigs in Houston. It's the Victor Show in San Antonio. And I'm so geeked, Corey, because I'm in a 30-team fantasy basketball dynasty league. Wow. It started up last year, and I drafted a good team, but I had injuries and buzzkills. And so I said, no. This ain't going right. And I had Levine who was knocked around, and I had Middleton who was knocked around. And in a 30-team league, you got to have your boys. Otherwise, it ain't going to work out. And so one weekend, I'm like, I'm tanking. And I got Victor, Corey. I had the worst record in the regular season, and I got Victor. So I'm super excited about it. Victor's going to be joining John Morant when he gets off suspension, Zach LaVine, Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton. I've got a forward who's escaping me. I've got Steven Adams. And so now I'm going to add Victor to that mix.
Nice
and
team.
I'm trying to go from 30 to 1 with a tank. So where are you at with tanking in fantasy football, in dynasty football leagues, man? Where are you at with that?
Listen, I'm not a big dynasty guy, but you know what I'm saying? Flags fly forever. So here's the thing. You either number one, or you might as well just go ahead and pull it and try to tank. But I think it's got to be an asset to tank for. See, Victor is an asset to tank for.
Right.
Like in dynasty football, I guess you can say Bijan is an asset to tank for. If you're in a dynasty league this year and you need a wide receiver, then Marvin Harrison Jr. is an asset to tank for. So I don't have a problem with that. I think it lines up. I think you know how to run your organization or your franchise or what's best. You know what I'm saying? Me, when I'm in dynasty, I win a championship and I get out. But I want to circle back. How long a suspension do you think John Morant's going to get?
Minimum 20 games. I think he's going to get 20. Listening to Adam last night in his comments with Malika Andrews, and he said he was shocked. He expressed, you could just feel the disappointment, like the fatherly disappointment. You don't want to disappoint dad. And it felt like Ja disappointed dad. Like, wait a minute, we were just in here. You know, I was just spanking you for this, or just, you know, putting a bar of soap in your mouth, or whatever, like punishments that parents do to kids, right? We just were here, and now 2 months later, we're back here doing this again. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So I think Adam's over it. And Corey, there was a huge paradigm shift when we went from David Stern to Adam Silver. David Stern was old school and iron-fisted, okay? And sent Meta World Peace home for the entire year after the Malice at the Palace. Adam has been very player-friendly, frankly, lenient with a lot of this stuff. And I think it's time for and I'm not saying 40 games or 50 games.
That's ridiculous.
Anything like that. I think it's crazy. But let's call it like this, okay? I think we got to double up the suspension at least. It was 8. You didn't get the message. All right, I got to at least double it up. So I'd put somewhere from 16 to 20. How about you?
I would like 16. I think 16 is the number or less. First of all, kind of knowing the situation, what was going on this past weekend in Tennessee, where there's a graduation party, and basically Ja goes outside for not even a long time, and bam, this happens. You know what I'm saying? Legal firearm, carry state. No law was broken, as opposed to, now listen, the Malice in the Palace, you had players punching people and stuff like that. You know, it kind of reminds me of Michael Vick, when Michael Vick lied to Roger Goodell, and Goodell had to drop the hammer because I talked to you and you lied to me. But here's the deal. This is not a criminal investigation. There's nothing criminal going on in this case right here. So, but with that being said, see, conduct detrimental, that's a wide-ranging thing that you can always throw on somebody. So I think 16 to 20, and 16 is the perfect number because that still allows him to be an all-pro. You see, Rick, when you're 23 years old, you think you're going to make the money back. You don't realize that time is your enemy.
Look, he gave up $40 million, not knowingly, but not this incident over the weekend with flashing the gun on IG Live, or what appeared to be a gun. We go back 2 months to when he was in the Denver nightclub and flashed the gun and then got suspended. That cost him, according to the internet, $670,000. So there's that. But no. That was just the tip of the iceberg. That was a tip to the server as she brings you a big bottle of vodka in the VIP section. That's all that was, because he lost roughly $40 million by not being all NBA. And he should have been all NBA. Now, I had to hang up with the games played. And Corey, I'm very strict on that when I, hand out my awards, right? You got to play 65 games. I just period.
See, Ja won't make 60. See, Ja needs, that's why that 16 is that number, because Ja's going to want to at least play 65 next year. And if I'm Silver, do I take that from him?
That number, but Corey, come on, man. That means he misses one game the whole rest of the year. He's going to miss. He's a game misser, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, listen, obviously the style of play that he has, the athleticism, the taking off, the acrobatics, and that is tough coming down on your knees and stuff like that. And we've seen Ja be kind of reckless with his body, but I would like to give him the chance, you know what I'm saying, as a young player. Listen, the NFL has made this mistake before, right? You give your star players these big, long suspensions. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you giving this guy a 40, 50 game suspension? No law was broken. And really, I mean, no law was broken. This is still I have a 22-year-old son. Rick, you never believe how insane these people are. You know what I'm saying? You tell them one thing and you turn your head and they doing it again. Then it's nobody's fault all the time. But my thing is this. Let's not make it a habit of putting our superstars in timeout for an excessive long time, but for crimes that really, for a punishment that doesn't match the crime, in my opinion.
Look, I agree with what you're saying, man. You know,
if you were the commissioner,
yeah,
boy, 16,
that'd be
16.
Awesome. I'm going 16. I'm okay. Doubling it up. Like I said, I could maybe be talked into 20, right? By, I don't know, the owner of the Grizzlies, or I could entertain 20. I can't go north of 20. And I think 16 works. We gave you 8, you blew it off. Let's double it now and see if that gets your attention. Now, if Ja does something like this again, and again, it's a really tough conversation, Corey, because he is not under criminal investigation. The cops are not involved. He is able to walk around as a free man because he didn't violate a rule of whatever county or state he was in. It's such a bad look, though. And obviously, Adam was talking about, you're basically celebrating gunplay. And in the climate that we are here in 2023, like, let's discourage gunplay. Like, let's not.
What if it was no bullets in the gun? What if the pistol wasn't loaded?
I get it, but I get that. And I presume that there were no bullets in that gun. Hopefully, look, when I saw it, I'm like, please tell me that's a water gun. A little and it squirts water out. Please tell me that that's a fake gun there. And Corey, look,
Rick, Josh from right down the street. This is South Carolina. This is Second Amendment country. This is Second Amendment territory. I'm sure John Morant's growing up around guns. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure this is a part of his upbringing. You know what I mean? So now, obviously, you rich celebrity athlete in Memphis, Tennessee, of all places, you may want to have some protection. But listen, doing this is a very foolish thing to do. But to 40, 50 games in a season for this? Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
No, I agree. It's way too excessive. It's just, and like you said, it's not a violation of laws. Where he's from, it's not a violation of a man law either, okay? But based on, what Adam Silver wants as the commissioner of the league.
That's different, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you could talk about culture. And maybe his family, like, guns were a thing, and they went to the gun range and they shot guns, and they've got a whole collection of guns, and that's just kind of one of their hobbies. That's all cool. All right on. Like, Gilbert Arenas had a huge gun collection, right? A huge gun collection. But Gilbert brought a bunch of them, and there's your win. Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett was strikeout number 6. All right, just wanted to get that out. He made me wait an inning. He just went through the last inning without a strikeout, just got a strikeout. He's at 6, and we hit the over here. But Gilbert Arenas explained to Josiah Johnson a little while back that he got 50 from David Stern. He said David bullied him into 50, and he said, if you fight me on 50, I'm going to try to take your whole contract away. And Gilbert was on a massive contract at the time. And so he just said, all right, cool. Here's the 50 games. And all right, I guess I don't have a choice here.
Yeah, I keep my contract. Yep.
I keep my contract. But Gilbert brought multiple guns to his locker, not like his locker at the practice facility, his locker, like, at the arena for games, right? Obviously crossing a major line, and him and Javaris Crittenton got into it And so it's different, but it's just, this is not what you do. You're not allowed to do it. You may be able to have a gun collection and go shoot guns and, be a whole gun culture guy and all that kind of stuff, but not around here. You can't. And
but definitely can't bring it to the locker room in Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right, because don't they have like a hard and fast, you got a gun and you go to jail kind of thing? Like it's pretty brutal there, right?
Some police, it depends. Some, in Washington, D.C., you got those buildings. Some of the officers in those buildings are not deputized to take the guns home. They have to leave the guns at work. That happens in Washington, D.C. It's a really different scenario. What's funny with that thing with Gilbert is too. There was I was living in Washington, D.C. when this happened. There was rumors that the general manager, I forgot who the GM was at the time, told him he could bring the guns there. They told his argument was he never said this, but I've heard that they told him that he could bring the guns there, which is weird altogether. But it doesn't excuse it.
It was
and that's the thing. See,
right?
with Ja, it may have been Gunfeld. See, the thing with Ja on the Denver trip, my first thought was, please, I hope he didn't have that gun on the team plane. Now, if that gun was on the plane, now you're talking a serious suspension.
No doubt. That
gun was, if NBA investigated, the gun wasn't on the team plane. Now the gun is basically out. He's in his yard. That's why I'm like, I understand how influential Ja Morant is. He is really, when you look outside of LeBron James, Steph Curry, him and Jason Tatum are the top American-born athletes in the sport. So you want these guys to have success, you know what I'm saying? But he's tremendous. Everybody loves him. Children, my daughter doesn't know any basketball players. She knows LeBron James and Ja Morant. You know what I mean? So I understand what the NBA is doing. They want him to straighten up his act, and so do I. But let's also realize that getting into that 25-30 game territory is ridiculous.
It's too much, man. It's too much. Adam may go that high, though. We're talking here, and we feel like we've got an accord here with Rick Kamla and Corey Parson, but Adam may have other ideas, and he may flex on this one. He has flexed on governors before, booted Robert Sarver for obvious reasons, booted Donald Sterling for obvious reasons, and did not pass go on that. I mean, it was just, you're gone. Lifetime ban, sell your team, get the hell out of here. You suck. You're a racist, okay? We got to move on with people that have inclusion in mind and people that actually get it, okay, and aren't dumb as hell and ignorant. And so, hey, quickly here before we bring on Steve Alexander, Corey, let's sing a little bit a song here about Nikola frickin' Jokic, okay? Mm-hmm. And when a guy really goes off like this, you got to put the frickin' in the middle of his name. I mean, just Nikola Jokic doesn't quite resonate when you go 34 and 21 and 14. Never happened before in a playoff game, okay? In the first quarter, he had 8 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. In the first effing quarter, okay? He's got 3 straight 20-point triple-doubles in the playoffs. I believe the only guy ever to do that is Russell Westbrook, okay? How do you be more efficient than 12 of 17? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope took the same amount of shots as Jokic last night, and he still had this masterpiece. Didn't miss a 3 on 3 attempts, 7 of 8 from the line. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Nikola Jokic, Corey, is causing me to reevaluate and reconstruct my top 10 player rankings in the NBA. Currently. Okay. Think about it. Kevin Durant wasn't even the best player on his team, okay? Giannis got big boyed by Jimmy and lost in the first round, okay? Steph Curry, he's at home right now. These are guys who have lived sort of at that top tier. Luka has lost ground with me, complaining to rest and a whole bunch of other stuff. Jokic continues to rise. And Corey, this is like a soft launch of a hot take. If Nikola Jokic wins this ring, if he gets 7 more wins and wins this, to me, I'm not going to be able to say somebody else is the best player in the world because I'm kind of a best player in the world free agent right now. And so if Jokic beats all of these guys and takes on all comers and beats them, then how the hell is he not the best player in the world?
Listen, it's going to be hard to take that away from him, especially, you know what I'm saying? And to do this, if he does what he has to do, he's going to have to eliminate Kevin Durant and LeBron James. You see what I'm saying? You got to take that into consideration. The guys that we said are the best of the best players in the world, I dropped both of them off. At points during the season, Rick, you notice Nikola Jokic's 3-point prop was 0.5. He is so extremely efficient. They run the offense through him, and this might be the best offense in the league. He's a fantastic passer. He knows the game very well. He knows when to take over. He knows when to get teammates involved. This Nuggets team, the Lakers are going to fight, but this Nuggets team is very tough. And I think Jokic, listen, Embiid should have got the MVP this year.
Yeah,
I understand Kendrick Perkins did his damnness to make sure that he did do it, and that did play a part. No matter what people say, what Perk did play a part. Now, it's a regular season award, and Embiid was the best. But, man, it's tough not to say that Jokic is a better player.
Embiid has gained ground with me as well, the season that he just had. And, just what he can do on the court. And the fact that he plays both ends, right, Joel Embiid. Jokic doesn't play both ends to nearly the level that Joel does. But let's catch a break right here. We're going to come back with Steve Alexander from ESPN and RotoWire as well, hanging out with Rick Kamla and Corey Parson here. Corey's in for the great Lisa Ann on Bettor Sports Live.
So I grabbed DK Metcalf. I'm very, very curious as to hearing all three of your guys' takes on the Seattle situation now that they took Jackson Smith and Njigba, and where we see the target distribution going as far as this goes.
Yeah, the way I look at it is this. Jackson Smith and Njigba just became Chris Godwin, where when Chris Godwin joined the Bucks, they had Mike Evans and they had Deshaun Jackson. And Chris Godwin would come in and play slot in 3 wide receiver sets, but then he would come out of the field for 2 wide receiver sets. I think that's exactly what happens early on with the Seahawks, who have Metcalf and Lockett, JSN coming in. Lockett's 31, though, in September. So, like we saw with Chris Godwin, once he became the man in 2 wide receiver sets, it was wheels up. That might happen this year, it might happen next year, but I don't think a guy like Metcalf is ever coming out of the game, so I have no problem with that pick here still.
Yeah, I just at the current ADP for like Jackson Smith and Njigba, I think it's a bit rich. You could probably see him coming off in like the 5th, even the 6th round. But Seattle ran the 6th lowest 11 personnel last year. I just worry when he's going to get on the field. Granted, he is going to get rotated in. You know, there's going to be times where maybe Lockett's out and he comes in or something like that. But they do run a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. So that's what I worry about with Jackson Smith and Njigba. I think he's a great dynasty pick. I just can't imagine him getting on the field too much where he's going to be able to pay off that specific ADP.
I agree completely. And then from another total wild card perspective, they got Charbonnet. So how hard are they going to establish the run versus how much are they going to pass? It's just so many questions in that offense.
All right, so we are back on Bettor Sports Live, and this is like a family reunion up in here. This is a family reunion. We got Steve Alexander of ESPN and RotoWire, previously Cover Your Ears, Steve, of Roto World and NBC Sports Edge fame, where he literally helped to empower my entire career at NBA TV with all of his blurbs and all of his player information and all the great stat work that he did. And yes, to a degree, I poached his work on the air, okay? And we've been boys for a long, long time. Steve goes way back with Corey Parson, okay? And so we bring it all together here to a beautiful boil on Bettor Sports Live. Corey is in for the great Lisa Ann, and we welcome Steve Alexander back. Steve, what's happening, bro?
I got a couple house cleaning items. First of all, very, very sad that Lisa Ann's not here. Casey, Lisa Ann sent me her book after I was on last time. My wife read it. My wife came to me. She's like, dude, like she has this thing about going minimalistic and getting rid of all the crap in her house. And I'm going with it. I'm in. So I was her and I were texting, Lisa Ann and I were texting yesterday talking about how she's influenced my wife's live now, and Casey wants to like bring a dumpster in and just get rid of all of our, you know what. So, and as sad as I am that Lisa's not here, my boy Corey, family reunion, is in the house, so that's awesome. So it actually worked out really well, and I think Ja, to I was listening to you guys talk about Ja. I mean, I get it. He was in his yard and whatnot, But dude, this is like first time you're wrong, strike one. Second time, strike two. Third time, strike three. Like we're on strike 6 or 7 or 5. I think they're going to throw the book at him. I would not be surprised to see 50.
Wow, that would be unbelievable right there if they was to do 50. And it's always fun to be talking to the good doctor. And you know it's so interesting. I'll tell you guys a little backstory. This happened right before the basketball season started last year. The day, when we saw the video of the Draymond Green punch, right? I had a buddy of mine text me and he said, Ja needs a little straightening out too. And I was like, that's interesting that you say that. I got to connect, I got people in Memphis. And there was several incidents last summer that haven't even been discussed yet. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like the Memphis police will be like, hey, make sure you get home safe and, don't do that. And it seems like there's been some incidents where it's been troubling. And listen, coming into the postseason, I said, you know what? This team needs a first round exit. Anytime a team that young is that good, that bad on the road, they took the road trips as boys' weekends and it jumped up to bite them. I hope he doesn't get 50, but he's painting himself in a bad corner right now. And if he does get 50, they're tacking on what happened with the kid at the mall. What happened, you know what I'm saying, with the guy that came, with the kid that came to his house and him going up to the mall belligerent drunk. It's that kind of stuff is going to be held against him. He has gotten an easy pass to this point.
And there's that incident that nobody's talking about where the red laser was pointed at the Pacers bus and Ja was supposedly in the car that it was coming from. I'm not saying he did it, but and punching a kid in his backyard playing pickup game, a high school kid, like there's just lots of stuff, man. And the other part that we are not privy to is if the three of us and everybody listening knows these stories, what stories are out there that we don't even know. And maybe the NBA does. I mean, I'm just worried about it, man, because Ja did not come from this gangster background. Like this is not who he was when he was in college. And I just don't know what he's doing, man. He's got the world by the what.
He's extremely wealthy, and they haven't come off of cloud 9 yet. And I think now they are collectively as a unit starting to come down, and it's like it's almost too late. Like, okay, we've created a monster that we can't bring in right now, and I guess the NBA is going to have to do it.
Yeah, this is an NBA issue. The Memphis Grizzlies, as most of us know, to our audience, they have suspended Ja from all team activities. There are no team activities right now, so they were basically like, we got to do something. So Ja, you're suspended indefinitely. But what that also means is he literally can't go to the practice facility, okay? Like, you are suspended from all team activities, so beat it. You're not welcome here right now until the NBA bets how long they're going to suspend you. We are underway. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, over by Miami. Jason Tatum run out slam, and Boston takes a 10-6 lead here. Robert Williams has a couple of early buckets.
Wow.
And looks good. Not bouncy like last year, but good. Here's Bam Adebayo, a little floater over Horford. Bam's got a couple of buckets. Corey, we're on his over 17.5. You're on his under 2.5 assists. Steve, let's tip it off with this. Corey was on Miami money line tonight. I was on Miami plus the 8 or 8.5 tonight, depending on your book. Who do you have winning this game 1 here?
I, on the other hand, am on Boston -8.
Aha.
I'm also on Jason Tatum under 29.5.
So are we. 3 for 3.
I don't feel like it's not, we at ESPN, the column that I write it's called Best Bet. And I said best bet, Boston's going to win by 8 or more. And I just feel like they've kind of been limping through these playoffs. Like, we know, like, Boston was a favorite to win it all, to be one of the teams that was in consideration to win it all coming into this. But they haven't looked like a team that could beat Denver or maybe even the Lakers. And I kind of feel like they're at home. They got through that 7-game series last time. They need to make a statement. And I think it's going to take guys like Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Grant Williams and Time Lord. Those guys are going to have to step up tonight. I kind of feel like a Boston blowout is coming. But as you guys know, as soon as you throw money at a game, you don't feel as confident about it as you did before you did that. So I don't want to jinx anything. I don't know what's going to happen. The Heat could win this game. The Heat are possibly the most underrated playoff team we've seen in the last 5 years.
Ever.
Nobody gave them a chance to be where they are right now, but they play defense. Playoff Jimmy is different than regular season Jimmy. Bam Adebayo, probably underrated. And they're doing all this without Tyler Hero. Spoelstra's a better coach than he gets credit for. So it should be a fun series. It should be a good series, but I really kind of hope that Boston comes out and makes a statement tonight.
Yeah, I hope they lose. I'm not a big Boston Celtic guy, but that's probably like a regional thing. You know what I'm saying?
They lose.
That's probably like a regional thing. What I'm curious is when you go back and you look at the Lakers season, is it the health of Anthony Davis? What exactly was it? The moves at the trade deadline? What exactly made this team from what I called a bunch of has-beens and never will be's to a shot to be NBA champions?
We live in a world right now where the whole goal of every NBA team is either to tank or to get to the playoffs. And the ultimate goal is to get to the playoffs and be healthy. And that's what the Lakers have done. And, is LeBron going to go out there and just destroy his body in game 47 against the Sacramento Kings? He doesn't really care. I don't think anybody cares. So the goal is to get to the playoffs and be healthy when you're there. And guess what? The Lakers are healthy. Boston's incredibly healthy. The only person on Boston's injured list is Danilo Gallinari. Last time I saw him, I think he was wearing a Hawks jersey. Like they're healthy, and now it matters. Like the playoffs matter. And game 47 against the San Antonio Spurs doesn't. So I think that's the difference.
Interesting.
Who you got in the series, Steve? Winning it. You got Boston going to the NBA Finals here. I have Miami. Pardon me. I have Boston in 7. Corey, give me your as we get it over to Steve. What was your series prediction here on Boston Miami? I got Boston 7. What did you have on that?
Miami 7.
Whoa! You have Miami winning the series?
He wants Boston to lose.
I'm not going. Listen, I understand Steve is the guest, but I just say this right quick.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm just like, whoa, okay.
Boston is really taking advantage of their draw. They got that Philadelphia 76ers team that don't got no heart. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I think the Knicks would have beat Boston. Boston had that good start, but then they kind of leveled off. They're not playing well at home. And Miami is probably – listen, Boston is tough. They're a championship team. They were there last year. But Miami is tougher.
I like it. Steve, who you got? Boston or Miami?
I love that.
How many games?
I love Corey's take on that because that's why I said, like, Boston has to make a statement tonight and turn their postseason around because they've been tiptoeing, dodging bullets, basically. Tatum scores 7 one night, 19 another night, 51 another night. I've got Boston in 6. I've got Denver in 6. I got Denver winning it all. I had Denver winning it all 3 or 4 months ago. I don't even remember where it was. I mean, hell, I could have said that on NBC. I could have said it on ESPN. I could have said it on RotoWire. I could have said it on all of them. I could have said it on Twitter. I have no idea. But I've been on I was a Jokic MVP guy. Also, I know you all talked about that. Like Embiid should have won the MVP. I don't know. I mean, to me, Jokic just keeps doing what Jokic does. The Denver Nuggets keep winning. They've got a really good chance to win it all this year, and I don't know that Jokic did anything less this year than he's done in the years past. Like, can you imagine going out there to play against Jokic? You're like, man, this guy's kind of goofy. He's not fast. He doesn't really do anything that is so incredible that it shouldn't be able to be stopped, yet he's unstoppable. Like, I am so amazed by Jokic's game. Like, I just love it.
Did you blame Kendrick Perkins for him not winning the MVP?
No, I just think everybody was ready for somebody new. And, it's funny.
I think
like,
it was fatigue.
Guess who's at home? Joel Embiid. Guess who wants out of Philly? James Harden. Guess, come on. I don't know. To me,
it's crazy. The guy who is the dominant player in the Western Conference Finals, or could be in, and it could win the championship, was the last dude selected in the NBA All-Star draft. So that just goes to show you that, it's a real quiet, real efficient workman style game, but it's absolutely fantastic if you're a purist and love the sport. Steve, I want you to, I think this is like a two-part question. What's the best open job, and who's the best available coach? Like if I came to Steve Alexander and said, "Hey, Steve, I want you to run my organization. Which one? Like, here's the teams without coaches. Which team are you picking?"
All right. First of all, you're talking to a semi-retired journeyman that has been sleeping enough that I thought all day today that it was Tuesday and that we had $5 movie night in Dawsonville, but it's actually Wednesday. So when I picked my kid up, I'm like, dude, we're going to go to a $5. You want to go see Guardians of the Galaxy? We're going to go do this. He's like, Dad, that was yesterday. It's Wednesday, bro. I'm like, oh. So first of all, I want to predate this comment with that. Like, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth? But I think the best open job is Phoenix, right? Like, is James Harden going to possibly end up in Phoenix for a discount? I don't even know if they. I don't even know.
He's not going to Phoenix.
I don't think the money works to do that. But the best job to me is Phoenix, and even though KD and Steve Nash already have a history together, like, would it not be interesting to have Steve Nash coach the Suns? I don't know.
No, that wouldn't be interesting.
You don't like that? That ship has already sailed.
I mean, I like Steve Nash. He's a nice guy. I'm friendly with him, but nah, I don't think so. I just don't see it. I don't think.
Do you bring D'Antoni back?
So just quickly on Nash was not a difference maker on that sideline. He was not. He barked, he got taxed, he created rotations, but he was not a difference maker. Darvin Ham's already a difference maker, man. He worked out the Westbrook thing when Vogel couldn't, right? He got them winning. He had them believing all year, even when they sucked. They get all these new guys, best defensive team. I mean, how about all the buttons he pushed in game one last night? Putting Rui on Jokic and minimizing him in the fourth. You had starting Dennis Schroeder, which was a bit of a bold move. You had benching D'Angelo Russell and getting Lonnie Walker on the court because Russell, D'Lo, you're going to have to guard somebody in this series. I mean, my God, you can't get Olayed all the way to the rim against Denver. This is championship level basketball. So Ham is a difference maker. Nick Nurse is a difference maker. Ty Lue is a difference maker. Nah, that was a random rant right there. I like me some Steve Nash, but not like that.
Nick Nurse is a difference maker?
What are you talking about? He delivered a championship to Toronto. Nick Nurse is a mastermind. Hell yeah, he's a difference maker. You don't think Nick Nurse is a difference maker?
Nick Nurse is on my list, dude.
What are you talking about? That's the homie. Why are you dissing Nick Nurse?
Ruining my boy Chris Boucher for the last 8 years.
Oh, God. Here we go. A fantasy complaint. You know why? Look, I've been frustrated with the lack of minutes for Boucher as well. I was telling Corey about my the dynasty team I have in that 30-team league that we're in, Steve, and I tanked appropriately for Victor. Yes!
But do we know how that worked out? I was told that each one of us bottom three feeders was going to be assigned like the Spurs and the Rockets and we're part of the lottery, dude. Have you heard that you officially got the number one pick?
If I tank for a whole season and they hit me with some bullshit stipulation, I am going to quit the league.
So
I am going to just quit the league, and you can have my team, okay? Like if I just take Victor, and if I can't have Victor, then you can have my team. That's where I'm at with that. You're buzzing me right now, Steve.
The bottom three in the NBA all have the same odds. So the
I don't
bottom
care.
three
I
in
had
our
the worst record in this league. Okay, why are we trying to copy and paste or mirror the NBA? Like, that's stupid as hell. No, you tanked. You had the worst record, and I'm not going to tank anymore because I'll have Victor. Okay, that's how this should work.
I don't know.
I'll just
I don't
quit
know
the
if
league.
you have Victor.
I'll just quit the league then.
Okay.
So.
Oh, come on, Rick. Hey, come on now. That's so loser. That's so loser stuff right there.
Right.
You want to take your ball and go home because it didn't go your way? Nah, Rick.
What
Come
do you
on
mean?
now.
What do you mean that go my way?
Rick, you're better
tanked
than
for
that,
Victor.
bro.
No, I'm not. I tanked for Victor. I won the tank job. I have the worst record in the league. I should get Victor Wembanyama. And if they hit me with some kind of but I'm going to hit them with, here, take my team.
I also don't understand how you out-tanked me because I had the worst lineup possible every week, and somehow you were losing by one more point than I was. And I couldn't get my head around it. I looked at it. I was like, what is he doing? You have Tracy McGrady and Charles Barkley in your lineup?
I don't know. I started the tank in week 2. Okay.
I was first for the first 8 weeks. I was the tanker. You caught me.
I caught you in passion.
But
and again,
we were all bottom 3 lottery, baby. Let's go. I was the Spurs and you were the Rockets.
That's cool. Then you can all talk about this little tiny shiny league all by yourselves. I will give them the team back. No,
hey, Rick, they'll find somebody else. I just want you to know.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't care at that point, Corey. Okay, like if I'm just giving my team up, I don't care. Have it be a dead team. Fill it with somebody else. Find
look at that. I didn't think Rick was that kind of cat. Hey, let me ask you.
Ball and going home.
Hey, Doc, what's up with the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Random question of the day. What?
We're talking basketball, Rick. What do you mean?
Whoa!
I love it. I
don't want to talk about the Celtics. Come on.
What is up with the Cleveland Cavaliers? I don't know. They have 2 really good guards. I know that.
The playoff exit was horrific to their fan base, but I saw it coming.
Like they're a good. They're like almost every other team in the East, in my opinion. Like they're good. Like they're a good team. Are they as good as Memphis? Probably not. Are they as they're just a good team with that. Like I don't know, man. Everybody talks about how much parity there is in the NBA, but
I don't think it's none.
Look at this Final Four we got, man. It's Lakers, it's Boston, it's the same old. It's LeBron, and it's the same old stuff. I don't know. Cleveland, they need their Donovan Mitchell. Do you guys remember when Donovan Mitchell just got roasted by TNT that night when Shaq came at him and Charles came at him, and they're like, "Man, you're not that good. You're not as good as you think you are." Basically, is what they said to him. And I feel like the Donovan Mitchell we saw this year was really, really good. Like he was a really good player. But is he that upper echelon? Is he there yet? Is he as dynamic and game-changing as Jason Tatum is? I feel like if I was going to start a team and we listed 10 guys and Donovan Mitchell was one of them, he's going to be down there towards the bottom of that list. Jason Tatum is a guy you want to start a team with right now. Luka, I think, even though Rick's mad at him, I get it. Luka's a guy you want to start a team with. I don't think when you talk about what guy do you want to build a team around, I don't think Donovan Mitchell's name comes up immediately. Do we even know if Dylan Brooks is a really good NBA guard? I don't know. I know he can score. I don't know what kind of teammate he is. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like they're good, but they're missing a piece, and I don't know what that piece is. But
look, that piece might actually be Dylan Brooks for Cleveland. To go with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, they need a stud 3-and-D guy to be that 5th guy. Isaac Okoro is not that guy. He brings the D, but not the 3. Karis LeVert is a terrific player, but he brings the O and not the D. And he's not even really a 3-point shooter. He's a slasher and kind of a jack of all trades. Very good bench player. they need a grimy defensive dog on the wing in that starting lineup, because Garland and Mitchell are not that guy. They are offensive weapons. They got to get an all-defense dude that can bang threes. A guy like Dylan Brooks, a guy like, Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm not saying they can have him. He's obviously the property of the Brooklyn Nets right now. But look, it was very disappointing what I saw from Cleveland. I thought they were going to beat New York, and I was very disappointed with Donovan Mitchell. Okay, I'll be honest with you guys, and I have had and continue to have, although it took a little bit of a confidence hit, a large opinion on Donovan Mitchell. I think he is a borderline top 10 player in this game. He is the number 2 shooting guard in the league behind Devin Booker, and I have a huge opinion about him. But damn, those last 2 games against New York really challenged my confidence. I'm not tripping. I'm not like bailing on all of that, for a 2-game sample size, but it was very, very disappointing.
And
very
disappointing. Isaac Okoro is starting for them. He's not the guy. Like that's who you're talking about. Like they need a defensive stopper. They need somebody. PJ, I don't know. They need a veteran in that role that's going to play defense and lock people down. So Mobley and Allen, though, I'm good with that. Like I love those guys. What a great.
They probably need some more experience. Those 2 players right there. They got to probably get a little bit tougher. They got outworked by Mitchell Robinson, and then you saw Bam outwork Mitchell Robinson. So it's levels to it.
Yeah, you're right. Didn't Kramer say that one time? It's all about levels.
I don't know. I've never quoted Kramer before, but if so, happy to be here.
Little sign.
Corey, do you know who Kramer is?
Yeah, I used to watch Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, I used to live in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So Tom's Diner was, I could walk to Tom's Diner from where I used to live at.
I love it, man. I love it.
Shout out to Tom's Diner.
Shout out to you, Corey Parson, sitting in
Thank you.
and having a blast with your boy Rick Kamla here, in for Lisa Ann tonight. We're joined by Steve Alexander right now, and it is Miami 28-27 over Boston. 1:10 to go here in the first quarter. In a minute, we'll look at the box score and kind of get into some of our props and see how we're doing here. But Steve, this is not the game that you thought we would see. And I know we're early here, but you were kind of thinking maybe a Boston blowout in Miami, as they had against Milwaukee, as they had against the New York Knicks. They have other ideas, man. And Cora, I mean, it's a 1-point lead here, but it is a lead at Boston. Okay, we have not seen a 15-1 Boston run, timeout, Spo, place going crazy. Nah, this is Miami says, come on in. Welcome to the meat grinder. And that's right. Hey, Derek White just hit a 3 for you, Corey.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? We only need 1.5
right there.
Let's go, baby.
Now he likes the Celtics.
Is Steve? What flavor beer you rocking right there?
What kind of lager? What kind of lager is that?
That is a Creature Comforts Tropicalia. Rick, was this here when you lived in Atlanta?
I have no idea. Too many concerts, too many parties, my friend.
All right. Well, it's a Georgia thing, and it's delicious.
I love it, man. I love it. Steve, any random ass take you want to drop on us before you get out of here, man?
Can we talk
what are you hot on right now? What are you hot on right now?
I'm not
before
really
we get
hot.
out of here. Just give me something.
I'm retired, bro. You know what? I play Golden Tee. I go to the park. I walk the mall. You know,
bro, you're not. You don't ride to the mall and sit down and eat lunch at the mall with the seniors. I know that's not Dr. A. I know Dr. A is not.
He plays chess with them in the park, right, Corey?
True story, dude. Casey and I just got home from Johnny B's. You've been there, Rick. Hanging out with all the townies, all the locals, throwing some Yahtzee out on the porch, bro. That's what we were doing. Yeah, that's where we're at. This is how bad it's gotten. This is what happens when people get laid off in the middle of a basketball season and have nothing else to do. So, hot take. I don't really have a hot take for you. I didn't really write that down or think about it. Just like the random what's up with the Cleveland Cavaliers question from Corey.
But best question of the night because it was that random, man.
No,
that was awesome.
It was so great. Well, I forgot to look at their depth chart before I came on, Corey. But I love this Victor Wembanyama drama last night. Like imagine if you're a Houston Rockets fan or a San Antonio Spurs fan. You're like, oh my like we might get Victor Wembanyama. And I saw something on ESPN right before I came on. Like they're saying that if he's not as good as LeBron, he's going to be a disappointment. Like
that's what they do. That's right there is the hyperbole that other mainstream media, like, the prisoner of the moment mentality.
The
high really is aggravating.
So Greg Popovich has had 2 number 1 picks before because people are immediately hitting me on Twitter as soon as that pick went down, or as soon as they got the ping pong ball, whatever. Is Greg Popovich going to ruin Victor Wembanyama's rookie season? And I was like, well, the other 2 number 1 picks this guy had were Tim Duncan and David Robinson. I don't remember them having any problems their rookie year or any other year. And don't think, I don't even know how old Pop is, but he's getting up there. Don't think he doesn't know what he's got, man. I am so excited. I guess my take is I just can't wait to watch Victor Wembanyama play. Like, I want to see him play. I hope he's not on Rick's dynasty team.
Well, if he's not, Rick's not going to be in the league.
They're not going to be in the league. So that's all there is to it. And I'm not playing radio on that. That is absolute fact. If they screw me out of Victor, I'm going to screw them out of Rick Kamla. Okay, I can tell you that right now.
The quote was, here it is, Chris Broussard. So that's not ESPN, but Chris Broussard said, if Wemby is AD, KD, or Akeem, I guess if he's not AD, KD, or Akeem, that's a disappointment.
No, he's saying if he is AD or KD or Hakeem, that's a disappointment. So, and Broussard's my boy. That's my homie, man. But this is not one of his better takes here.
Akeem's one of the, Akeem is the epitome of what you want out of a big man in the NBA.
He's a top 20 player all time. So is Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis. I don't know, but we're talking about 2 top 20 guys all time.
Yeah.
Wow.
During the pandemic, when we was watching old school games, I was watching the 86 finals, and I was like, this is the best basketball player ever. Hakeem Olajuwon. It just was going crazy. Hey, I tell you what, here's a hot take, and this is probably not that much of a hot take. It's a true take, and hopefully we can make it happen. My man, Steve Alexander, Dr. A, needs to be in the Fantasy Sports Hall of Fame. He needs that gold jacket. He's got to be next up. Next class, Dr. A, you're the man. You know what I'm saying? You've been doing this for a very long time. Trailblazer in the space, trailblazer in fantasy basketball. We need you in a gold fantasy jacket, my man.
Well, Rick needs to go in with me, bro. Like, we got to go in together.
Yeah, listen, that's right.
We started together. Like that. The whole reason I'm here is because of the crazy fantasy show in the middle of the night. Like, that's why I'm here. I was like, oh, this dude can make money talking about the NBA. That's all I do. Like, I'm good. I talk about the NBA to my friends. I'm gonna do it on a public forum. Also, shout out to Heavy T, dude. Your producer. I love the fact that his nickname is Heavy T. Heavy Tonner. Yeah. Good dude.
So it's funny, Heavy T on air or Heavy Tonner or Heavy Tone Air, however you want to put it. But Tyler Soto's our guy, man. Big Falcon fan, does not like Joe Adele. We know that from the rant that plays during our breaks here. But no, Tyler's the man. And Steve, so are you. Dr. A, we appreciate you, brother. Give my best to Casey and the fam, and we'll talk real soon, man.
All right, you guys have fun. And Corey, next time I come on, I'll be a little more prepared to talk about your Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, there you go. My man, Dr. A, holding it down. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you right quick, though. Fantasy football best ball season is here, and you can join a live draft and try to beat your favorite fantasy alarm analyst while talking about your picks and strategy live on the Bettor Sports Network. Sign up for a live draft on Fantasy Alarm Discord today. Remember, you must have a Fantasy Alarm subscription to join. So visit fantasyalarm.com for subscription options to jumpstart your dominance over the competition.
Corey Parson in for Lisa Ann tonight. We are Bettor Sports Live. I am Rick Kamla. And let's come back and check in on Boston and Miami, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We've got 13 minutes of basketball. By the time we come back, we'll probably have about 15 minutes of basketball. How are we doing with our prop selections here tonight? We'll obviously give you a game update. And then around the corner, Corey, I want to get into some NFL win totals and run through some of these. Pardon me, a little indigestion right there. Run through some of these. And I have a feeling this is going to ignite some really good debates with your boys. He is Corey Parson. I am Rick Kamla. Right now, we are Bettor Sports Live.
the Detroit Lions select Sam Laporta, tight end, Iowa.
Had to go with your boy Sam Laporta there to pair with TJ Hawkinson.
Sammy. I couldn't double down on rookie tight ends. I think that's taking it a little too far.
This could be one of the most exciting rookie tight end classes in a while, just based on the archetypes of these guys, of the Dalton Kincaids and the Sam Laportas. Obviously, Green Bay drafted two themselves with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. So after Kincaid, I would say is probably the consensus with tight ends. Like, who do you like as far as the best ball, like end of best ball? Do you like Laporta, or is there anybody else you like more?
I do like Laporta. We're looking for guys that can be a top 2 target on their team. So any path, any argument you could make, right? So you can make the argument that Dalton Kincaid is going to be a top 2 target with after Stephon Diggs. You can make an argument that with Jamison Williams suspended, now Sam Laporta is just going to play straight up wide receiver. He looks like a wide receiver. Why can't he line up out wide at split end, right? It's like Marvin Jones and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would also throw another name in the ring, and I don't mind, since we're doing this for the fans, for the kids. He's still on the board. Luke Musgrave on your Packers. They're not super loaded at wide receiver. We like the guy Reed they drafted, but you never know. So why can't Luke Musgrave be a big slot? In fact, they drafted 2 tight ends, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Tucker Kraft is more of an inline guy. They might just go 2 tight ends right away. Tucker Kraft inline, Luke Musgrave in the slot. Why can't he be a target monster for Jordan Love? So those are the guys, those are the conditions that you need for a rookie tight end to succeed. They need to not only be the best pass catching tight end on the team, but a top 2 pass catcher on the team outright. That's how you get Kyle Pitts. Evan Ingram as a rookie was top 5 because Odell Beckham Jr. hurt his knee 4 weeks into the year. So that's the formula. We're looking for guys that can actually be a top target right away. Otherwise, we're playing the sit and wait long-term game, which is what you're doing with guys like Michael Mayer.
Hey, everybody, it is Rick Kamla. It is Corey Parson in for Lisa Ann tonight. And Corey, we got a barn burner brewing in Boston right now. It is 39-36 Miami. And here's Jason Tatum, top of the key, 3-ball off the front of the rim. And then he gets run over by Caleb Martin. Very competitive game. Very good flow to the game. We haven't had any feistiness or any nose-to-nose action or anything like that. But Miami, I was on Miami +8 tonight. Corey was on Miami money line tonight. What were the money line odds on this, by the way, Corey?
Money line odds, I had got it earlier in the day. I had got it at 295. Let me go check my thing. Yeah, so there could be a nice hit if we're able to bring that one in right there. But first, Rick, let me tell you, you need to get all pro access to Fantasy Alarm and unlock all the features, including all the fantasy football and betting content, plus award-winning DFS playbook covering 10 different sports. For a limited time, get all of this for 50% off your first 6 months with the promo code ALARM50. That's ALARM50. So get started with a free trial today. Promo code ALARM50. Become a part of the family right here at Better Sports Network, Fantasy Alarm.
So, like I said, it's the same score here, 39-36, Miami over Boston.
Miami fight, Rick. Miami don't play. Miami come to play every night.
Heat culture, man. 8:42 to go in the second quarter here. So, I have good news on Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is already up to 8 points. He just hit 3 buckets in a row in a little mini takeover sequence. He does not have any dimes yet, and so I'm over on 4.5 dimes, over on 10.5 points on Kyle Lowry. Bam Adebayo, I'm over on him at 17.5 points. He's got 9 so far. Bam is playing very, very well. He has, 1 assist. Corey has the under on Bam at 2.5 assists. Jaylen Brown's going to have to giddy up and go for both of us here. He has not hit a 3 yet. He's at 6 points in the game. I'm over on him at 24.5. And you were over on him, the 3 balls at 2.5. Robert Williams is 7
points. Unbelievable.
Trending in a direction you don't need him to trend.
I know.
He's at 11 combo points and rebounds right now, and you played the under at 16.5. of his points, rebounds, and assists. So, but Jason Tatum, we faded him. We were all under him on 29.5 so far. He is not cooking yet. He has 9 points, Corey. So your thoughts on what we're seeing so far?
So far, we're really seeing the Miami Heat defense kind of play a role in limiting Jason Tatum right now. 4-9 from the field, 1-3 from 3. Brown also not off to a great start. So some of their top players right now still in single digits. It looks like Robert Williams has become the go-to guy, 11 minutes of action. And you talked about what he's been doing. Malcolm Brogdon, a player whose props, I always talk about Malcolm Brogdon, but I never cash a Malcolm Brogdon ticket. That's a mistake right there. He's already up to 10 points off the bench. He's going to be critical in this series. But Jimmy Butler early is getting it done, and you mentioned Bam as well. And then you look at Kyle Lowry. He's already hit two 3-pointers. So Lowry is getting it done too. So this is going to be a nip and tuck back and forth series. So, anytime you catch somebody catching 8.5 points in a series like this, the way Miami play, Miami not going to let you beat them by double digits.
Jaylen Brown,
they'll quit like you do on your fantasy league.
Only if you screw me out of Victor. I will. I take over bad teams. I'm the repo man. I will take over. Hey, Kyle Lowry cashing tickets around here.
How about that?
From the left wing, and with 7:29 to go in the first half, Corey, he's already hit the over on his point prop. How about that?
Shout out to Kyle Lowry getting it done. Talked about him in the pregame. How, you know what I'm saying? He looked like Old Man River all regular season, and then the postseason start, and he's Magic Johnson.
Old Man River. I've not heard that one in a while. That's a good one, right?
Hey,
there.
have you seen Air, the movie Air? The story about the Nike and the Air Jordan sneaker?
I have not. I've not seen that movie. Good movie?
I watched it the other night. It was cool. It's not, ain't nobody going to win a Emmy or Oscar for it, but on a night with no game, you know what I'm saying? Amazon Prime, a little how you doing, and there you go.
I like it, man. I like it. So, Corey, let's launch into some NFL win totals here, and let's play a little tennis here. I want to give you one, and then you give me one, and if we kind of have one that we collide on, then let's chop it up here, man. I'm going to give you one that I feel really good about here, Corey, to launch us into this. The Philadelphia Eagles at 11.5 wins over. Okay, they were 14-3 last year. They lost one of those games with Jalen Hurts. They lost two of those games with Gardner Minshew. Okay, they have the best roster in the NFL. To me, they won the offseason. All right, when you combine free agency and the draft, Howie Roseman did it again. Kyle Lowry just made another crazy difficult shot to put Miami up too. But look, I don't even understand. Literally, the Eagles, with the best roster in football, could lose two more games than they did last year, and we still hit the over on 11.5. Corey, I love Philadelphia over 11.5. So talk to me or take us in another direction, but let's talk about these NFL win totals, man.
No, I love it right here. And listen, I am going to fade that Philadelphia Eagle win total coming in 11.5. I think too much shakeup in the coaching staff. Gannon gone, Steichen gone. I think you come back after a year where you reach those expectations, and where you reach those expectations. So I feel as if Philadelphia is probably an 11-win division champion, but with that kind of turnover in the offseason, I worry about coming back on the rebound.
Wow. I'm not as concerned about Gannon and Steichen leaving. Sirianni is the guy, and he is
so?
Well, I mean, he's the system. He was the guy hired as the offensive mastermind and guru, not Steichen, right? And so Steichen is a disciple of Sirianni, who's a disciple of some other big-time coach. I forget what tree he's under. I think maybe the Doug Peterson, Andy Reid tree. Help me out with that, Corey. I can't remember.
It sounds like Frank Wright, and so that's Andy Reid, yeah.
Something like that. But and look, to your point, Sirianni is going to be challenged losing his OC and his DC. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But to me, it's about the talent on the football field. And they killed the draft. They killed free agency.
Did they really kill the draft?
I think they did.
Jalen Carter. Okay, let's talk Jalen Carter. Yes, a dynamic 3 technique. And when the 3 technique is good, they can take over a defense and wreck an offensive game plan. You drive to the ballpark worried about a dominant 3 technique. To me, the motor runs low. In the game against Ohio State in the college football playoff, nowhere to be found. Them dudes on the other side of that Ohio State O-line, that's a pro offensive line over there. Nowhere to be found. Oh, the TCU game, he wreaked havoc. But TCU's not on the level of the Georgia Bulldogs. Off the field stuff, then he drops, right? So let's leave it at that. I don't know too much about the off the field stuff. And then Nolan Smith. Why do you think Nolan Smith was dropping? Because he don't ever stay on the field. The guy's barely healthy too. So all this Philadelphia killed the draft. They got a good PR staff.
Nah. I don't need PR staffs to steer me in a direction. This is about talent evaluation. Nolan Smith is a legit first-round pick. He had a pectoral injury. He's over it. He tested very, very well, freakishly well at the combine. So I'm not. I hear you, but I don't agree with that. I think Nolan Smith, especially late in the first round, that was stealing for them to get Keely Ringo, who throughout the draft process had first or second round grades on him. To get him in the fourth round is a steal. He's a backup. Sidney Brown, he'll compete with Blankenship to be one of the starters at safety. Third round, you got him. And look, these are not like sexy wow pop moves, right? These are infrastructure moves that create depth and give optionality for the future, like the Tyler Steen pick. He's going to back up Cam Jurgens this year. Might push him in camp, might make it a competition, but you have him in the future. And Steen came out a tackle. So if Lane Johnson retires, boom, probably a ready-made guy to go behind him. They didn't need to do a whole lot, right? You kept Jason Kelsey. Miles Sanders left, but I'm not a huge Miles Sanders guy. I think Carolina overpaid him. I mean, this is the running back market we're talking about here. I'm not really paying any running back if I'm a GM. And so you steal DeAndre Swift. I know he's half man, half a season, but I mean, he is talented.
That's
with my man. Kenny Gainwell, Rashad Penny, Boston Scott's your deep with your running backs, but I don't think we're going to get a championship hangover from Philly. I think we're going to get like what Boston did this year in the NBA after losing to the Warriors. They're going to come back on a mission. We lost, but we are that team, and we're going to prove it this year. And I think Philadelphia is going to be on a mission. And again, they were 14-3 last year. I don't think that was an anomaly. I really don't. Hurts to me was the MVP of the league until he blew the tire, and then you miss 2 games and you don't win MVP. So wow, okay, you are fading Philadelphia, but you do have them winning the division with 11 games. So you have them just under their number here.
Just under their number. The Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys will win the division. Let's go from the top of the league all the way down to the bottom.
Ooh, where are you going?
The Arizona Cardinals. 4.5 is the number. Arizona Cardinals over or under 4.5 wins this year.
How many games is Kyler Murray going to play, Corey Parson?
You will not. Kyler Murray will begin the season on the PUP list, meaning he will have missed at least the first 6.
I think Kyler Murray is going to miss the whole year.
Okay, I'm not opposed to that.
He is a guy that refuses to play at less than 100%, and it drives me freaking mad. He's losing me, and I was the original Kyler Murray guy. Corey, to bring you into me and Kyler Murray, I'm doing local radio in Atlanta. And Kyler Murray's having the pop year at Oklahoma, right? The Heisman year, the number 1 pick year. And he was still the property of the Oakland A's at that time. And I remember having debates on local Atlanta radio. And really bright minds were telling me he needs to stick to baseball. And Corey, it was about game 4 or game 5 that year watching Oklahoma. And I was like, just shut it down. Forget baseball, put the glove down and the bat down and the spikes down, okay? You need to play football. The speed, the electricity, the ability to throw the ball wherever he wants to, okay, with touch, with velocity, the little lollipop balls to running backs. He has all of it. And I saw this at Oklahoma because Lincoln Riley gets these guys ready for the NFL. And then he comes to the NFL, and so I basically predicted he'd be the number 1 overall pick and laugh last with all these guys. But Kyler's been losing me, Corey. With the end of a couple of seasons ago, it's the Rams game, and he's walking around the sideline, and he's in the game, and he's out of the game. Play the game, dude. Whatever you can give to your team. This is a death game right now. Why are you not on the field? And we get this Streveler dude out there. Like, what is this? And then last year, obviously, the torn ACL. I mean, that is what it is. Guys tear their ACL. But he's just a guy that I found like a Brandon Ingram, like a D'Angelo Russell, like some of these NBA guys, they don't want to play at less than 100%. And that I'm not with it. So look, Corey, I lean under here. This is not one that I would recommend personally as a bet. Because I think 4.5 is a pretty good number here. They could win 4, they could win 5, they could win 3, I guess, but I certainly don't see them getting to 6. I really don't even see them getting to 5. I lean under here, but this is a stay away from.
You're not going to the window with it.
I think the number's like pretty spot on here. I don't feel like I have an advantage. How about you?
Listen, I'm going to stay away. I'm playing under as well. I'm down on Kyler Murray as well. I never was really up on Kyler Murray. I think that I wanted to call it to do good one time, but then after that kind of bottomed out. Listen, this is a guy who held the franchise hostage for an extension, and he was not the type of player that needs to be extended. When Budda Baker got hurt, the entire team came on the field to see Budda Baker off. He stood on the sideline. I don't like that Captain America, I'm better than you type player. He's always been somebody who separates himself from the teammates, thinks he's better, walks around the facility with an Oakland A's hat on. So I asked you this question to set up this one. If they do bottom out and they do have the first pick of the draft next year, they got to take Caleb Williams, don't they?
No, they got to take Victor Wembanyama. Okay, that's why you tank. That's why you tank.
A 7'5" Frenchman to play quarterback.
Corey, I will tell you right now, okay, and I've said this on this platform and on my Mad Dog Sports radio shows. I would have already at least tried to trade Kyler Murray, okay? And I know he's got a torn ACL, and I know his reputation has taken hits. I'm sorry, man. The guy attacks my coach. He attacks Nuke Hopkins. Like, what is this? It's just a constant spasm of immaturity after the other. And I know he's going to grow up, but when? And I still think that you can get really good value for Kyler Murray, okay? Look at what Russell Wilson fetched. Look at what Matt Stafford fetched. Look at what Deshaun Watson fetched, right? I think Kyler Murray, you could still find that one team that's going to give you most of what you want for him. But so then that marries with going out and taking a Caleb Williams or a Drake May if you have the second or third pick.
Yeah, I think if you're Arizona, I think you listen. You talk with you listen. You throwing a towel on Josh Rosen, throwing a towel on Kyler Murray, especially when you got a dude like Caleb Williams. I would say Williams would make me readjust my plan. And if I'm the Cardinals and I'm number 1 overall, I'm taking Caleb Williams. And then I get on the phone and I call Atlanta and I'd be like, "Do y'all want Kyler Murray?"
Good call. I like that a lot. I thought Atlanta should have been more aggressive for Lamar Jackson this offseason.
They would have been Rick, if they go get Lamar on that track and draft that, but they probably would have to give that first round pick. Listen, right. Do you know what happens? They immediately become the best team in the NFC outside of Philadelphia. Lamar Jackson would have made any NFC team the best team in the conference.
Interesting take right there. I definitely can't co-sign that over Philly. I think Lamar could have gone to any NFC team, and I'd still say Philly was better than them. But this, and look, what you're speaking to here is how wide open the NFC is. And San Fran's going to come down a little bit. We don't know who their QB is going to be. If Purdy's, it might be. It actually might be. It actually might be Sam Darnold. As weird as that sounds. Yes, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 quarterbacks. And LeBron and the Heatles got not 1, not 2. They only got 2 back in the day. Random ass jokes. I'm inspired by Corey's random ass question to Steve Alexander about the Cavaliers.
Shout out to the Heatles, though. Listen,
the Heatles.
At least they went to the finals every year. They almost had one. They almost had one
every year, dude. Every year, man. We
got Nick. We looking at? Are we waiting for Nick?
What up? What Nick who? What are you talking about here?
What's up?
Oh, I'm in my rundown here. I got to get over here to the chat area so I can see my guy Corey and see our guy Nick Durst has dropped by with Rick Kamla and Corey Parson on Bettor Sports Live. Corey is in for Lisa Ann tonight. Nick Durst, what's up, dude?
I just wanted to call in, grace you guys with my presence. Had a lot on my mind. I don't know why. I woke up this morning, I checked Twitter, and I was like, I gotta get take on Martha Stewart being the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model.
Listen, oh man, you know what? As a person who used to work for that once great publication, I'll just say that I'm looking forward to seeing the magazine after the swimsuit edition. How about we say that? Listen, back in the day, Nick, back in the day when it was just Roto Experts in the morning, Corey, I would have let it fly. But corporate Corey, good try. Good try.
All right. And I did want to ask you guys your Mount Rushmore of European basketball players. For me, I think it should be unanimous. You got to go Jokic, who is the greatest of all time, the best player in the NBA. Dirk Nowitzki, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think the fourth could be up for debate, but I'd say Pascal. That's the four best European.
So you're saying international players or just European or international players?
Just European.
Giannis is European?
He is
Greece.
Yeah, he's
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I have no problem with anybody you put on that list. I hate to leave off Drazen Petrovic, Detlef Schrempf. I mean, these are very good international players. Yeah, I have no problem with your off the top of the head. I have your problem with your list.
Yeah, I'm thinking here.
European.
Well, listen, I'm not. It was just social studies. What are we doing here? I'm here talking about the game.
I love it.
We're here talking about the Knicks and the 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Arizona Cardinals, and you come on here asking me about third world literature. Come on, Nick Durst.
Third world literature. I like it. I never took that class, Corey. I never took that class. I'm telling you that right now. I never took that class. Look, I off the top of my head here, I'm going to give you Hakeem. I mean, he's one of the greatest players of all time. I'm going to give you Dirk. I am totally with that. Boy, I'm not mad at I'm not mad at you saying, yeah, the iron leg fadeaway, man, for the win. I'm not disagreeing with you. The Jokic is the best player in the world. I told Corey earlier in the show, Nick, that I'm a best player in the world free agent right now. Okay. Giannis was my guy. Boy, did he disappoint me in that series against Miami. Kevin Durant's not even the best player on his own team. Okay. So how can he be the best player in the world? That may be a shocking take to some, but that's how I view it. So Hakeem is on, Dirk is on, Giannis is on, and you know, I'm kind of on the spot here. I don't have like a long list where I can vet it, but I as we sit here right now, I don't have a problem with Jokic being on the Mount Rushmore of European players, right? Because you said European, not full international, where we bring everything in, but just European. So that's my list. That's what I got right now, man. That's what I got.
What else you got for us, Nick?
Corey, I got to change that. I got to change that.
What we got, Rick?
I'm sorry. I got to change that because I just had a thought bubble, and it's a very, very important thought bubble. Pau Gasol, okay?
Oh, that's a great one.
He's got to be on this list somewhere. I mean, the resume is elegant. He's got 2 rings, a bunch of All-Stars, 2010 for a million years. So I'm going to bounce Jokic because he is a non-champion, and I'm going to put the aforementioned gentleman on this list right here. So Corey, go ahead, man. Your Mount Rushmore of international ballers.
It's just like I said, it's a tough call right here, but he's not just your Vetus, he's our Vetus. Giannis, Hakeem has to go. Giannis, Hakeem. I gotta go. Giannis, Hakeem, Jokic, Manu Ginobili, who I'm a big fan of, and it's a tough call right here. But I feel like I'm missing somebody.
I think you both need geography, Russell, because Nigeria is not in Europe; it's in Africa. So,
you're the one who said Hakeem, bro. What are you talking about?
Hakeem
you said Hakeem. That's why I asked you if it was international.
Parson,
hey, Nick, what are we doing? Nick, what are we doing? Like me and Rick were sitting here having a good time. Talking basketball, you know what I'm saying? And you come in here with a history, with a geography lesson, and now what are we doing? Do you want to talk about the Jets? Are the Jets going to make the playoffs this year? Let's get off the geography.
Not going to make the playoffs. No shot.
Have no shot. What do you mean they have no shot? They actually have a shot now. Oh my
God! The Jets
God!
Always find a way to mess up. Something's going to go wrong. Thumb again. Something's going to happen. I have no faith in Robert Saleh to lead a team to the playoffs. We'll see how Nathaniel Hackett does with Rodgers. He looked great last year with Russell Wilson. So we'll see what happens. I have no faith in the JFC is stacked this year. If you're looking across the division, the Ravens are much better. Whole season, Lamar Jackson and Odell Beckham Jr. The Jets are not going to the division, so they're looking at a wild card. The Dolphins, they are probably better. We'll see about Tua, but they got Mike backing them up. So hopefully Tua is Mike White versus the Jets. The game down the road knocks the Jets out. But the North is stacked. The South stinks. So I don't know, but I don't think the Jets are going to make it. I think maybe they're an 8 seed, maybe they're a 7. I cannot see the Jets making any sort of run to the promised land. They're a cursed franchise.
And they killed Carl. The Jets killed Carl. Curb your enthusiasm. So.
Curb your enthusiasm. Great Jet episode. Hey, listen.
Oh my God. It's the
Rick,
best
9.5.
right?
The Jets win total 9.5. I'll take the under. I think they're a 9-win team.
I'm gonna take the over on that. I think they're gonna win 10, 11 games, 12. I can't go that high. I think they're gonna win 10, 11 games. I do have the Jets in the playoffs, so I am over 9.5 on the New York Jets. And Corey, that is not one of those sort of like, yeah, I wouldn't bet it. I would bet that. I think that we are going to get a positive season at the Meadowlands for the New York Jets. I don't know if they're going to win a playoff game, but I think they're going to win double-digit games and be a playoff team. So you're under 9.5, Corey?
I'm under 9.5. I think they're a 9-win team. I think they could be the 7th seed in the AFC, meaning the team that just gets in. I would say this. I think the Green Bay Packers will have a better record or the same. I think the Green Bay Packers will be, if I was to put Jets and Packers wins, I would take Green Bay plus 1.5. Meaning the Jets won't be 2 full games better than the Packers at the end of the year.
I think we might have our bet, Corey.
Uh-oh, there we go.
I think
that the side action?
I think we might have our side action. So the bet is I'll take the Jets. They got to be 2 games better than the Packers.
2 games better than the Packers in the win column. Well, obviously, that's how it would be. So I would take the Packers plus 1.5 versus the Jets. Unless you give me 2.5.
Definitely not doing that. I'm not feeling that generous tonight here. All right. So hold on a second. Green Bay's number here is 7.5. The Jets number is 9.5. Okay, so we're not too far off with the game and a half. And all right, so that marries right there. I've got I'm gonna take that bet, Corey. Well, what do you want? $20, $30? What do you want? What do you want to do?
We can figure out some kind of stakes to put on it. You know what I'm saying? Wait, you live in Florida, right?
I do. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm down there enough to you know what I'm saying, take you to the steakhouse or whatever. But we can figure out something. You know what I mean? We're like I said, maybe we got time to figure it out. We got to figure out we got to figure out the stakes before the season starts. Because I don't think something financial is fun, but I want to do something fun. Yeah, no doubt.
But you got to bet. You're on. Because I am fading Green Bay. I am under on their win total here of 7.5. Guys, it's tough to replace a legend. Talk to the Steelers. Talk to the Saints. Talk to the Patriots. Okay, it's tough to replace a legend, and I don't think the Packers are going to do a good job of that this year. I got the Packers like 6-11. I think they're going to be pretty. I think they're going to be pretty bad this year. I think it's going to be a rebuild and just kind of a really, really weird, sort of irrelevant season from Green Bay. Nick, how about you on Green Bay, man? And which side of that bet would you be on?
Well, Rick, you said the Packers, it's going to be tough to replace a legend. They did it once. They replaced Brett Favre for Aaron Rodgers. So whose history doesn't repeat itself? And they do it again here with Jordan Love. I don't know what's going to happen.
Could happen.
With Jordan
I'm betting
Love.
against it, though.
I would say it would be more likely the Packers win the Super Bowl this year than the Jets. Now, I don't know how that's going to break out with the win totals. I just think the NFC is really weak. And I think if anybody gets it in the NFC, they can make a run. But I'm going to go with Corey here on Corey's side of the bet. I would say I'm going over on the Packers. I think they could get 9 wins. So we'll see. We'll see where.
I think they're holding the bird in their hand with Jordan Love that nobody knows about. I think they know they got an ace in their deck, and I think they're going to throw it on the NFC this year. I really do.
I think Green Bay in their front office is clueless. So I have not liked their drafting for a while. They drafted Christian Watson. Awesome. Thank you. They drafted Jaden Reed. Awesome. Thank you. They did draft 2 tight ends in this draft. But one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers was at odds with the team is because they weren't giving him enough help. I mean, it was him and Devontae Adams against the world. So I just think
he could have taken, if you want some help, give some of that money back. He wasn't going to do that. He was going to hold them hostage every offseason to get $45, $50 million, then complain about the weapons. You got the money. You were the weapon.
There is a bunch of true statements with what you just said right there, okay? And then the difference between Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers is Kansas City's treating Mahomes the same way, right? You get Sky Moore, you get Rashee Rice, but these are not premium prospect wide receivers, right? These are good wide receivers. But they're basically telling Mahomes, okay, you want it all? You want to literally take every single dollar that you can. Okay, here it is. Guess what? You now are going to have to do more with less. Okay, because
and then he won a
championship.
championship.
So we understand each other here. And Mahomes like, yeah, I want all the money, and I'll make it work. And guess what? Damn it, he did last year.
There you go.
Right? He won the Super Bowl.
The Eagles better win this year because then they're going to be hurting with the Jalen Hurts money on the
and
cap.
then all of a sudden, people you're going to start cutting people because the money is not going to add up. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to get hurt on defense. Now you can run it back this year. But you can't keep running. First, look at the Bengals. When they pay Joe Burrow, what are they going to do? T. Higgins or Jamar Chase? You're going to keep Jamar Chase. T. Higgins, if I'm somebody, I'm calling now. They're saying they're keeping him. You don't have the money to keep him.
Nick, you the man. Anything else for us, man?
Yeah.
Any other geography lessons, or do you want to switch up subjects?
Don't go to chemistry. I suck at chemistry. I failed out of chemistry. I tapped out. Like please come save me from chemistry.
Last thing I want to just touch on, because I heard you guys talking about John Morant earlier. Let's revisit just how bad that 2019 draft class is now. Right now, it looks like Darius Garland was the steal of the draft for the Cavaliers at 5 because the top 4 busts, Cam Reddish was
whoa. John's in trouble, but he ain't a bust. What are we talking about here?
Great player, but it's not looking like it's going to pan out the way they would have thought. And Corey, have you seen Zion Williamson? The last time I saw him was on the back of a milk carton, and they said missing. I don't know where this guy is. He does not play basketball anymore.
You see, this, you know what I'm saying? I try to stay out the John Morant conversation, right? Because I'm clearly biased. But so I just log off Twitter, or I don't watch, First Tick. I don't Skip. Come on now, Skip. I leave Undisputed off. You know what I'm saying? I don't get into. I tell you, I can't do the whole hyperbole, right? But when I heard Stephen A. Smith saying, if you was to redo the 2019 draft, RJ Barrett just went 1 for 10 in an elimination game. If the 2019 draft was to be redone, you know who's going first? Zion Williamson, because he can be a hit at the box office. Period. He's a hit with jersey sales. He's a hit at the box office. You know who's going number 2? John Morant. Because from all the stuff that's going on off the court, guess what? It does not affect his game. He's still one of the best players in the league. Nothing off the court affects the product on the court. Period. RJ Barrett, 1 for 10 in an elimination game. I think he's getting better. Darius Garland's a good player, but he's an NBA All-Star, but he is not on the level of John Morant. Jordan Poole in this draft class too.
John Morant's a top 10 player in this league. And Darius Garland is a top
25,
30, 25 player in this league. This year, he was not even a top 25 player. I wasn't an all-star this year. I'd probably give him top 30, 35 status. I mean, he's good. But Nick, we appreciate you stopping by, man. This has been fun chopping it up with you. We got a geography lesson. We got a history lesson. Thank God you didn't take me to like an economics class or a chemistry class. Okay.
All right. Well, we talked some money with the cap hits, but I appreciate it, guys, and it was great to see you guys on together. Thanks for having me on.
Hey Nick, as always, I seen some stuff you did at that Sportscaster Derby. Keep doing your thing, and you know what I'm saying, look forward to hopefully doing some stuff again sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Nick Durst is doing his thing. He's a hustler. He's a grinder, like all of us, man. Trying to make some cash off the sports media thing. Corey, let's catch a break right here. I want to come back and catch everybody up. They're at the half here. Boston has a pretty healthy lead on Miami as we speak. Let's go to the box score and see how our props are doing. Let's get back to these NFL win totals. It's all coming up. Corey Parsons in for Lisa, and I'm Rick Kamla. We're Better Sports Live.
Heavy T. I'm gonna keep going. Looks like we're still out here. Corey Parson holding it down. Rick Kamla stepped away right quick. Right here on Better Sports Network, getting you ready, talking a little bit of everything tonight. You know, Ricky Props got his thing going on, so we're getting our prop bets going. Let me pull up ESPN.com right now, and we'll fill you in on what's going on at halftime. It's Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Celtics up right now with a 9-point lead at half. They outscored Miami 36-29 in the second quarter to go ahead and take that lead right now. Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. Butler with 15, Lowry with 13 for the Heat. When you look down at the Boston Celtics, getting it done, Jaylen Brown got hot. Malcolm Brogdon also as well. So Robert Williams already making my prop look bad as I was on the unders of Robert Williams. Right now he has 12 points, 6 rebounds. And then you look at Marcus Smart with only 3, Jaylen Brown with 11 points, 5 rebounds, Malcolm Brogdon 12 points, 2 of 3 from 3 as well. My Derek Wright prop was the one I was really wanting to hit tonight because that was the plus money run right there. Right now he's 1 for 3 from 3-point range, so he needs to hit another one. Also, that Tatum, we had under 29.5 right now. Jason Tatum with 18 points. So that one is going to be a sweat coming down the stretch. But right now, Heavy T is back. Heavy T, we had a little bit of issues, but we're going to step away, take a break. When we come back, we'll finish up strong. Corey Parson, Rick Kamla, right here on Better Sports Live.
Anybody who's watching this, getting ready for the rookie draft, so let's do an all-out blitz on this. Should you be drafting for need or should you be drafting for talent? And I'll give you an example. Oftentimes, I have pretty good receivers. My receiver core is usually really good for my dynasty teams. My running back core, usually not so bueno. I don't know if I just focus on receivers and tight ends too much, but my running backs, I usually need players here. If I am sitting at like the 103, the 104, the 105, should I be, reaching on a guy like Zach Charbonnet? Or should I be looking at drafting guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba or Dalton Kincaid or Jordan Addison, stuff like that? How do you handle weighing drafting for need versus talent for rookie drafts, Pat?
Generally, I think it makes sense to go with the talent and, like talent over need. And I do think, best ball drafts are a little differently because you can't make moves in season. But in managed leagues, whether it's redraft or dynasty, I think positional balance is like the most overrated thing in fantasy. You can make trades, go with the talent, go with the value on the draft board, and worry about positional balance later on.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
Network. In for Lisa Ann tonight, it's Corey Parson. I'm Rick Kamla. And we go to the wood here. Boston leading Miami 66-57 at halftime at TD Garden in Boston. It was a tight game. Miami was right there. And then the second quarter happened. Boston beat them by 7, 36-29 in the second quarter. And as we go to the box score here, we have some good news and we've got some bad news. And all of this is potential and circumstantial. But Corey, we both had Jason Tatum under 29.5. And at this point, we kind of need a blowout to get him off the floor. He's at 18 points right now, 7 of 13 from the field. He's cooking. And so that doesn't look great. Jaylen Brown's at 11, so he's got to giddy up and go to make the 24.5. I had the over on that. You had the over on Brown at 2.5 threes. He is 0 of 1 from three-point range so far. So we'll go into some other stuff. But when you look at the box and as you're watching this game, Corey, what's standing out to you?
Right now, both teams shooting over 40% from the Miami shooting, Boston, shooting 38% from three. Miami shooting 45% from three and still down. So that's going to be problematic right there. So now is the time, if you're looking to bet this live, let me check this live number right now. Because if Miami is hitting the three like this, and Boston is not, they should be up now. 10.5 is too much. So if I was going to hop in on this live, I still would come back with the Heat, but I don't want to bet the same team twice in one game. I was seeing that maybe Boston got down to 6, but they're not going to make it that easy for you. So really what you see what the box score is telling me is that Miami is not really getting to their bread and butter. That is playing defense. Butler has 15. Everybody else is struggling except for Lowry. And on the road in a game like this, you can start to see wars from some of your role players. And when you look at the Boston Celtics, they're getting some from everybody, most notably Brogdon giving them 12 off the bench. So if they was to really start to level in and knock down their threes in the second half, they could really blow the doors off Miami. Right now, as far as free throws go, Boston's been to the line 13 times. Miami been to the line 7 times. And then on the glass, Miami has a pair of offensive rebounds. Boston has 6. Rebound battle right now, 19-17. So pretty much tight. But right now, Butler and Lowry getting it done for Miami, while Boston is kind of getting the full effort.
My role player props are looking pretty good. Kyle Lowry has already cashed a ticket for us. I had the
amazing,
right? The regular season he had, he's still got dad bod, but he's out there, Corey, giving us 13 in the first half on 5 of 8 with 3 threes. 2 assists. I had the over at 4.5, so we're almost halfway there. And Malcolm Brogdon at 12 points. I had the over on him at 14.5. That's some of the good. Bam Adebayo's at 9. I need him to get over 17.5, so I guess he's pretty much on pace to hit that. And Derek White for you needs 1 more 3. And look, this is kind of weird. I mean, Peyton Pritchard is getting run in this game, Corey. Like, why? How? I get it, Miami's a small team, but why are you just playing Derek White more? You know what I'm saying? Derek White only played 11 minutes. Why wouldn't those 5 minutes go to Derek White? That's kind of mystifying to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not in the in-season setup no more, so I don't have the television over here, so I don't really know about this rotation, but you figure White would have got a little bit more of that time. Brogdon obviously getting big minutes. Peyton Pritchard is a guy that they do like, but after they got Brogdon, you really start to see his numbers start to deteriorate. So that's interesting right there to see him out there in this matchup right here. Is probably matchup or game plan dependent. Now, to get back in this game, Miami is going to need more from their other pieces. Kevin Love has to get it going. Strauss and Vincent have to get it going. So, and I'm about to say Cody Zeller, but Cody Zeller is not going to get it going. But those players in Miami, Bam, Vincent, Strauss, Love, those guys around Jimmy in that starting lineup, they got to get it going. Or you know what? That 10.5 at halftime may be the best bet to lay that with the Celtics.
They're still at halftime, and the longest. And
Miami's still a fight. Miami's still a fighting team now.
They are. At the beginning of when you're at 9, okay. This is a super critical stretch for Miami. All right, because if they get hit with a 9-1 run, all right, now it's we're over. Up to 9, and now we're up to 17. Okay, so Miami's got to come out here. For their side, I don't care who wins, but they got to have a good start to this third quarter and get back into this game and not let Boston run away and hide from them. Because Boston clearly has more firepower. Let's get back.
Now, this is where Spoelstra has to tell them in the locker room, and I'm sure he will because he's Eric Spoelstra. If I know it, I'm sure he knows it. But you just saw how they came out at halftime gangbusters and blew the Sixers out. He's going to let them know the Sixers are soft. We're not the Sixers. Don't let them blow us out to start the third quarter.
The Sixers are so soft. They're the Tin Man. It really.
You know who the Sixers are? This is a fantastic, and you agree. The Sixers are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA.
I like it because they're a shiny object, right? They're
shiny
very
object.
shiny and a lot of press about them, and we talk about them a lot. And then when it comes time to deliver, they don't deliver. I like that analogy. I'm buying that one.
And I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. That's why I can say it. You know what I mean? They're a shiny object. They're a big root. They're a team a lot of people likes. They're a team that has a history. They have superstar players.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They got what you got. Oh, you got your man Michael Rubin and Meek Mill, and they banging the Liberty Bell, and everybody is fantastic. And then every year it's disappointment at the end. So the Philadelphia 76ers and the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones should buy both teams.
Hey, speaking of Jerry Jones, your boy Matt Ishbia down in Phoenix whacking Monty Williams. Is he thinks he's Jerry Jones, right? Right. I think Matt Ishbia thinks he's Jerry Jones because apparently he had his Woj was saying he had his hand on the steering wheel of the Kevin Durant trade, and I don't think James Jones is in the firing Monty Williams business. I think, and the word is that was north of James Jones, and that wasn't a James Jones call. That was an Ishbia call. It's funny you mentioned Jerry Jones, Corey, because if I had $9 billion and could buy, an NBA or NFL team, my particular areas of expertise, you're damn right I'm going to be the shot caller of my frickin' team, okay? But it seems like Matt Ishbia is doing that in Phoenix, man. What did you think about them letting go of Monty Williams?
You got to be very careful when fans buy teams. You know what I'm saying? Like rich fans buy teams.
Yes.
And that's basically, listen, I love Jerry Jones. I'm a Jerry Jones guy as a Dallas Cowboy fan. So I'll throw that on Dan Snyder, a fan buying a team. Listen, when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, Monty Williams? This dude, you know what the Phoenix Suns were before Monty Williams got there?
Thank you.
A laughing stock of the NBA. One of the worst franchises in sports. He basically turns this team around. He's one of the nicest individuals in the league, a man that everybody likes. Nobody says a bad word about him. And you run him from the organization.
Yep.
Now, on the flip side, you can't lose by 40 and 30 points in elimination games. That's unacceptable. But with that being said, when people want to fire this, I learned this from a dude I used to work with back in Washington, D.C. And whenever you talk about firing the coach, you got to think, who's going to replace him? So now you got to replace this guy. Who you going to get, Doc Rivers? Budenholzer? Who are you going to bring in to replace Monty Williams? And it's like, if it's not Nick Nurse, who I think is the best coach available, or if you're not trying to poach Tyronn Lue, because I saw where Chris Haynes reported today that Tyronn Lue and the Clippers are having some conversations. If you're not bringing Ty Lue or Nick Nurse, who are you really getting? You going to bring Frank Vogel in there?
It reminds me of the Raiders saying goodbye to Derek Carr, and then really you backfilled the spot with Jimmy Garoppolo? Dummies, you just downgraded.
Wait a minute. Jimmy Garoppolo been to 2 NFC Championship games in the Super Bowl.
It's about fit. I get the success.
It's a fit. They're the one who found the guy. They found Jimmy Garoppolo. Josh McDaniels and that crew found Jimmy Garoppolo.
No. My point is, Jimmy Garoppolo was not the alpha for those playoff runs for San Francisco. He was a game manager with a great defense, and you had yak guys making plays after the catch. And look, Jimmy Garoppolo's solid, okay? I'm not trying to super bang on him. Derek Carr's more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo. And you disagree with that. Okay, wow. Another disagreement here. But going back to the Phoenix thing, right? It's like you fire Monty Williams. Okay, what the hell are you going to do now? By the way, Miami's on a 9-0 run right now. They've made it a 3-point game. Okay, so
see, Eric Spoelstra must have heard me.
Neat friggin' culture. Kevin Love just banged a left wing 3, and here comes Miami. Again, people, stop doubting this team. Okay, they just keep coming. They're like Jason frickin' Voorhees with the machete in the forest.
No, they 100% heat culture. We keep saying it because that's what it is. They don't quit. They don't have no quitting, and they're not the Philadelphia 76ers. What was the team?
Or the Suns. The Suns have let go of the rope in both of these last games, right? Last year and this year.
It was the Grizzlies and Lakers. The Lakers had like a 34-17 lead at the end of the first quarter, and I was like, oh boy, Memphis is going home tonight, because some teams are not going to fight back. The Miami Heat, they're going to fight back. You got to cut the head off the snake and throw gas on it to get rid of them.
You got to do the same with Jason Voorhees, and then you're still not going to kill him. He's still going to come back in a subsequent movie and try to and slash you. All right, Corey, we got just a couple of minutes left here. Let's get back to these some of these win totals in the NFL. Let's talk about your Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? To me, this is a surprisingly low 9.5 on Dallas. Where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I think because the Dallas Cowboys is the kind of route the Dallas Cowboys are, it can go either way. So you either love them or you hate them. So people are going to bet that under. But they don't understand this. Mike McCarthy, say what you want about him. He's done a fantastic job. Back-to-back seasons of double-digit wins. He's the most stable thing in the Dallas Cowboy franchise is Mike McCarthy. You worry about Dak Prescott. You really have to worry about Prescott. His last 32 starts, 29 interceptions. That's not going to cut it. So they get rid of Kellen Moore because Kellen Moore was doing his job, getting first downs. Mike McCarthy is like, the best unit on this team is the defense. We got to make sure that we run the football, protect the quarterback, and let the defense lead us. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are on over. I'm not going to say that's not fair because I'm not going to say them under. They could have been 13.5, and I'd have took the over.
Yeah, I understand you're a fan and all that, but I mean, you dispense the objective advice here, clearly.
Yeah.
And by the way, Miami has now tied the game. Okay, so there's that. I like the over on Dallas. I was going to say a lot. I don't know if I like it. I like it, though. Okay, this is a double-digit win team. You've got a rock star defense. I liked Dallas's offseason. I didn't love it, but I liked it, okay? I thought you made some good moves on defense. And I would have drafted differently than they drafted. I would have taken Michael Mayer when they took Mazzie Smith.
Yeah.
And I would have taken a running back when they took Schoonmaker from Michigan, the tight end out of Michigan in the second round. Okay, it is what it is. Dan Quinn still runs this defense. They're still going to be a top 5, at least top 10 defense. And Dak knows how to win in the regular season, despite the turnovers.
So
he just gets to the playoffs, and he has the Tony Romo gene. You know what I mean? He starts failing and breaking hearts around here. Okay, so we're both.
I would say
Dallas.
this right quick with Mazzie Smith. A dominant three technique in the middle of the defense helps keep Micah Parsons clean. And I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys go into the season with Dalvin Cook.
Woo, that's interesting right there. I would not be surprised by that either. Okay. This is what's fun working with you, Corey. We just, like I say, we make it do what it do.
Man.
Okay,
yeah.
It did. But okay, the Dalvin Cook thing. I like Buffalo as a next stop for him to be with his brother James Cook. And by the way, like, I don't know, they have Damian Harris, they have James Cook. It's not a huge need. There aren't a lot of teams in the NFL that have a huge need at running back right now, right? That's why Fournette's unemployed. That's why Zeke Elliott is unemployed. And that's why Dalvin Cook hasn't been traded yet, Corey, because teams, A, don't want to take on that money, and B, they probably feel pretty good with their running backs right now.
You see where the Minnesota Vikings Twitter header, they took Dalvin Cook off the image.
Yikes.
So that normally means it's over. You know what I'm saying? That normally means we've come to the end of the road, just like this program.
It's time to hire attorneys and file some paperwork, right, Corey? And subpoenas and all that kind of stuff. Not subpoenas. What the hell am I saying? But they have like cops or something deliver the divorce papers to. It's kind of weird. Hey, one more team here. A little bonus thing here, Corey, if we have the time. And okay, quickly, are you fading the Bills at 10.5? Or are you on the Bills at 10.5?
I'm on the Bills at 10.5. Still the best team in the AFC East.
Okay. Hey, Corey, this has been an absolute blast. All right. We missed Lisa Ann tonight, but having you here was awesome. You're a rock star, dude.
No doubt. Appreciate the time. Thanks to everybody. And Rick, let's get together sometime soon. You know what I'm saying? I got the email and the number. I'll hit you up.
I would love that, Corey. Thank you so much, man. Big thanks to Tyler Soto behind the glass doing awesome work. And big thanks to our guests, Matt Donnelly and Steve Alexander, and all of you for listening and interacting with us. We love you, and we'll see you next week on Bettor Sports Live.